start doing is to welcome everyone to this year's AGM, our 2021 annual general meeting. And it's such a privilege to once again be here amongst our team, amongst our loyal friends and supporters. Yay! We had to celebrate a beautiful year. We're going to thank our sponsors and everybody who's been working alongside us in the projects, because it takes a lot of things to make a project work. It cannot be done just by one person. And I'm Karina Andersen. I'm the founder of SmilingOne. I'm also the host today. So I'm going to try to navigate this beautiful experience. And of course, with me, I have the Board of Trustees, which is Manuela, you see up in the left corner. So Manuela is on our Board of Trustees. Franklin as well, who's sitting next to Bradley. So Franklin is also part of the Board of Trustees and one of our beautiful change agents. I'm just introducing the board first. You are going to, of course, be introduced to everyone as well. So we are going to, first I want to make some apologies. So the Kirsch Family Foundation, George, he excuses himself today, but he's wishing us all a wonderful AGM. We are recording the AGM, so they are able to look in. And we can, of course, also share the link with all of you afterwards if you want to tap in and even share it with other people. Also, welcome to the teachers of Ravensmead, who are very important partners in our Ravensmead High School project. A very special welcome also to Paul, my partner. It's beautiful to have you here. Welcome to Anna as well. You recently did the Reclaim Your Power Bootcamp, so you have some context in terms of what it is that we're talking about. You're also a teacher, so it's wonderful to have you here. Also, special welcome to Natalie, who is doing our admin and our bookkeeping. And of course, then we have the rest of the change agents, which is Bradley. We have Theo, who we're trying to get to connect to audio. And apologies from Tulani, who was not able to join us as well today, but you are going to hear and see a lot about him in our presentation. And I actually think that Theo is almost succeeding with his audio. So I would like us to start a round of introduction so we can just see, really feel everybody who's present here, the voices of everyone. So who would like to start? Why don't we start with you, Manuela? Maybe introduce yourself, share a little bit about who you are.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. So my name is Manuela, and I have been very much in the personal development world practically my whole life. My ex-partner and current business partner set up the British Association of Anger Management in the UK. We've been running that for 23 years or something. I discovered Karina via Paul and was invited to this very AGM in, I think, 2019. And, well, I mean, history speaks for itself. I just loved and fell in love with the work that you do and offer to the communities, and as a result, volunteered to be part of the board. So here we are, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Franklin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm Franklin. Where do I start? So much history. Back in 2009, I met the concept and the manual, The Responsible Individual inside of prison. It was something that grabbed my attention. I saw that a lot of hardened oaks and tough guys met this concept and the manual, The Responsible Individual, and they started crying and sharing their emotions. And I was like, this don't happen in prison. And I was interested. curious to know what's it about. I've actually fell in love with the responsible individual. Since 2009, I've been journeying next to Karina along with SmilingOne, and I ended up in 2015. Um, we were really just trialing and trying out the schools and really try to understand more about when it comes to prisoners and inmates and the history and their stories. You know, I found that during the teenage years, something really pushes them to the direction or the choice of criminal activity. And I realize we spend a lot of time on crime diversion inside of prison. And let me go back to the teenagers so that we can really focus on crime prevention. You know, I started with schools. I was taught a lot of stuff that I didn't know about teenagers, their stories, their circumstances, where do they come from, and just the deeply challenged youth that we have in South Africa. You know, since then, so going forward, have been to a couple of schools. As a change agent, I was privileged to work with schools and in communities to really being part of a special process that placed me in the seat today of being one of the Smiling One family and friends and joining you guys for the AGM. So yeah.
Thank you, Franklin, and welcome to you. It's so beautiful that you're here today. I just want to welcome also, I see FEH, so I'm not sure who this is, but could you just connect to your audio? Yeah, I think that's Mr. Fischerland, is that correct? Yes. So are you able to just connect to your audio? So I see that you're not connected. So if we can just also welcome Keenan. Keenan, would you like to introduce yourself? If you just unmute yourself, Keenan, just unmute yourself.
Okay, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
First of all, I'm Keenan, an accelerator at the SmilingOne Foundation, the responsible individual. I'm an ex-student of Ravensmead High. I was a student in the program since 2019, and it was indeed a great honor and a pleasure to be in the program and to learn more about myself and also the coming to meet myself and building self-confidence and the self-esteem with myself.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, Keenan. I'm really, really excited to have you here today. So thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Wonderful. And I'm just going to jump to you, Bradley. Welcome to you, also one of our beautiful change agents. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Bradley. I've been a part of SmilingOne since 2008. Following what Franklin shared just earlier, I think it's also the place, like prison, where I also met Karina in the SmilingOne family. For me, actually, it was a challenge, to be a part of the TRI project. I was still young, I was active, and I was in prison. And a lot of things influenced me not to be who I am. I guess during that time, I never knew who I was. When I started SmilingOne, I came to understand that there's parts of me that actually can influence other people and also myself. It was really beautiful to journey with Karina for years to understand that my past actually plays a major role in my life. And being in prison, like Franklin said, crying was not for me. I was a very hardened criminal. I didn't want to listen to anybody. I thought that my way is my way. But when starting the program, I came to understand that those ways that I had and the thoughts that I had was actually things I've built upon in the past. And it was things I couldn't get rid of because I never wanted anybody's help. The Smiling One Foundation really supported me in many ways. And I think one of the ways was finding that I'm a human, I'm a special soul who can also touch the lives of other people. But somebody had to touch my life. And there was a special life TRI coach, Scorsese, who made time to sit with me, to feel into me, and not to make me understand, but to be an inspiration to see that men do cry, men do have feelings. And though I was in a dark place, he was like a lamp for me. He said his light. And with the years to come, it was a very painful journey, letting go of what happened to me in the past. I was abused, I was bullied, I had a lot of anger, and sharing that with someone else who I didn't really know was something magnificent. It's like being in the AGM today. So when I looked into myself, I saw that I'm actually a beautiful puzzle piece in this world, in prison, even now outside. And as the AGM will go, I will share a special part of how it is for me being a change agent and how it is special for me to be a part of a team so magnificent. So I will take that moment to go a little bit deeper because I'm already feeling into how it was back in 2008, starting from the bottom. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bradley. Sure. What a privilege. And also thank you for highlighting, that there are different generation of coaches, and your first contact was with Skochi Tando, who was in training with me back then, and how those ripple effects are so important for what we do. But we're going to, of course, speak about that a little bit later as well. So thank you, Bradley. So lovely that you're here. And it's so lovely that you could join us as well. Would you like to share a little bit about who you are and why you chose to join the AGM today? If you just unmute yourself, Anna.
Here we go. I met Karina through a friend. Hi, everybody. I'm Anne. I met Karina, or not, didn't meet her personally, but I met her program and through a friend, and I joined the Reclaim Your Power group and academy in February. And prior to that, I had difficult challenges or a difficult personal life way back, being from Europe and immigrated into South Africa, being a teacher, having many challenges and personal challenges. I wasn't really in a good space, especially not 3 years ago. And I just decided when I saw that Reclaim Your Power course, that's all I needed. And I joined, and since then it's been a life-changing experience. It's been totally got rid of many of personal issues and difficulties and trauma and all of that. And always have been in teaching, I really, and always been interested in the well-being of children and the need that they have to also let go of emotions and discuss it. And I was always aware of that. Back in the days, we had circles of, the children were all sitting together and discussing the issues when they would have a fight. I was always interested in that, but being in normal teaching for many years now, or not having my, how can I say, I've been teaching, but not having my own program or anything, just following the curriculum. I didn't, I didn't go on with that work I wanted to do, and eventually I found some reconnection with Karina's program, and I would really like to take it much further with the children, and the young children. That's actually where I am now. But yeah, children in general, I mean, vulnerable little people that can still be shaped, good or bad, hopefully good. And that's what I would like to concentrate on.
Thank you. And it's beautiful that you're here and that you chose to join and that you're curious about exploring beyond that first course, because the Reclaim Your Power is one of our newer addition into our academy, which has kind of become an initiation for people to get to know the toolkit that we offer and get to know our depth coaching methodology, which is the responsible individual. So thank you for your curiosity and for your love for children and your love for education, and you're in the right place today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm very curious about your work, Karina. I'm very admiring, and I want to go into more depth with that, definitely. So
thank you so much.
I feel privileged to be here today.
Thank you very much. And I just want to, on that note, thank my team, because we wouldn't be here today if it wouldn't have been for all of us. Even, as we plant one little seed, but it takes really an army of light workers to do this kind of work that we do today. And it is my wish that our AGM really highlights the beautiful work of these, in particular, the men, the change agents, and of course, also the students, and how the teachers are now coming on board as nurturing adults. I'm so touched. Elvina, I would like to hear from you as well. Welcome to our AGM. Would you like to share a little bit about who you are and also what's your connection to SmilingOne?
Hi, everyone. I'm a teacher at Ravensmead, and I joined the program through Franklin. But before Franklin started, I was also touched by Bradley's testimony at school. Unfortunately, at that time, I couldn't join the program. I remember I told Franklin, I'm so overwhelmed with work because I've just entered teaching in 2019, and I was a bit overwhelmed at that time. So last year when he asked me to join the program, I was still too overwhelmed, and then COVID happened and everything. But what really motivated me was my colleagues, because the beautiful experiences that they've shared of being part of this program and how it helps them to understand the learners. And I think that is what mostly drew me to this program, because we know about the challenges our communities face, and we understand the difficulties of learners. And sometimes, as Franklin would know, it's difficult to the challenges, but still to be able to work around those issues and understand the learner. So this program has really helped me to understand myself better. And by understanding myself, I can see clearer, I can see better in terms of how I can help the learners. So I really want to actually just dedicate the fact that I'm part of this program to my colleagues and to Franklin and Bradley. Thank you guys for the beautiful work that you do for our community. In fact, I don't actually know if this program shouldn't be continuing at our school, then I think we will feel a major loss. So thank you once again to Karina and your team, and to Bradley and to Franklin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm just, my heart is overflowing. It's just like, I wonder if I can make it through that, even the first 50 minutes without crying. I'm like, really? You see, Manuela is also like all teary. And I mean, that's of course, when you've been doing this work for such a long time, and then just see the ripple effects, it's just beyond, really beyond. So thank you, Alvina, for investing in you. So Chanel, welcome to you. See, I'm already starting, so it's good. So Chanel, would you like to share your voice and a little bit about who you are and your connection to SmilingOne?
Good day, everyone. My name is Chanel Chapter. I'm an educator at Ravensmead High School. Many years, not many years, but a few years ago, I also saw the impact that SmilingOne has on the children. And in a previous meeting, I spoke about the longing to have the same effect or the change those learners experience in my life. And not just in my life as to change me, but also to be a change agent in our community. We see so much hurt in our community. We see so many children falling into gangsterism, drug abuse, etc. And it is really a sad situation for us to see, as teachers, to see what is happening to the youth. And we always ask as educators, what can we do? We don't have the means, we don't have the support from government sometimes, and we feel helpless. And when I saw SmilingOne doing so many things for our kids and influencing their lives for the better, I really wanted to be part of SmilingOne. And I'm happy to see the change in the learners' lives. I'm happy to see the change in our school. I'm happy to see so many other educators also be part of this program. And I know it has only been a few years, but in a few more years, I can't imagine what a powerful or great impact SmilingOne is going to have on our community, especially when these kids go out and become responsible adults. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Chanel. What a beautiful, again, voice you're adding to the mix, and just also really encouraging us as a team, because, to hear the impact is the most important thing to us. That is why we do what we do, so that we can prepare the leaders of tomorrow, and that we can build a beautiful, safe community, a beautiful, safe country, a healthy country, a thriving country. And it takes each one of us. So it's deeply touching. So thank you so much. And I want to welcome Natalie. Natalie, would you like to share a little bit about who you are and what is your connection?
Hi, everyone. Let me just put on my video. There we go. Hello, I'm Natalie Andersen. I am Karina's daughter. So, sorry, that's Sage running down the stairs. So my connection to SmilingOne is that I do a lot of the admin work. So I just actually completed the minutes. Sage, go. I just completed the minutes from last year, so everything is completely fresh in my mind. So I'm really excited to hear about how things have been going this year, also with COVID, to see how you guys have navigated the year. And yeah, I'm happy to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, my angel. And also for all the beautiful work, hard work you do to sit with a whole year, of AGM and put it all together so that we do have those minutes. And that's also after we have done all of the introductions. We did send the minutes to all of you this morning, and we're going to adopt those minutes just now. So welcome to you, Natalie, and thank you for your contribution. I also would like to welcome Mr. Ficheland. If you would like to introduce yourself and also share your connection to SmilingOne. You just need to unmute yourself. Okay, are you unmuted? I think you're still on mute. Oh, there we go.
Hi, good day, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Isaac Vigeland, educator at Ravensmead High School. My connection with SmilingOne started, I can't really recall, but it started about a year.
Oh, I lost you. Connection, if you can just unmute yourself again. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's fine.
So, yeah, my connection started with SmilingOne a year or two ago. And I think I first met Bradley, actually. This was before that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Franklin came along, and then yeah, there was just something that attracted me to wanting to know, to understand the next person. So this is now obviously work related, and I think what stands out for me and the connection of SmilingOne is that I've reached a point where I have a more in-depth understanding with regards to my students in terms of the background, scanning what they're capable of doing, and knowing that, you then enhance them, to just go for better in life, to make better decisions, and to live, to do good, etc. So yeah, that's my connection with SmilingOne.
Thank you
And thanks
so
to the
much.
team and the people, and yeah, everyone involved that originated this organization. So I wish you well with the future endeavors, whether you just at our school or any other school. So just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, it's going.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Isaac, for being here, for adding your voice, and for investing yourself as part of the teachers that enrolled into the program. I really, really appreciate that. So thank you. I also see we have Theo online. Let's see if your sound is working now, Theo.
Yes, dear, it's working.
Well, would you like to share a little bit about you and your connection to SmilingOne?
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're okay, guys. My name is Sutwan. I've been introduced in SmilingOne, I think, since 2010 in Branfrey Correctional Center. What amazing journey! What amazing journey! What amazing! Coaches, Karina. Oh, Bradley, Franklin. I can mention, I can dwell, the cycle of men. Those guys that I met them in the toughest. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So, yes, as I've said, it was 2010. And I will say I was at the lowest point of my life. The hope was gone. SmilingOne, come along. SmilingOne has rescued me. I was like nobody, as I have said. The hope, the dreams. I was it was like I was 6 feet underground, but I was still breathing, you know. SmilingOne came along, and SmilingOne gave me, it has, you know, reminded me that I'm still a person in life, and I can overcome these, you know, challenges of life. And it has taught me so many values, you know. Firstly, to respect myself, to love myself. You know, they have given me courage to take charge, you know, of my life, and with all the values that I have taught from SmilingOne, the one that I love the most, and it has kept me going because it has been a challenge in my life to be in charge of my emotions, because emotions, they may lead you to do things that you didn't want to do. So yeah, I'm proudly today that I am where I am, a responsible guy that is willing, you know, to touch other hearts, touch other souls, not to give up. Challenges are just there to build us, are just there to rectify the mistakes that we have done. What a team, what a wonderful team, you know, to be to engage with, because I don't think so that I will manage, you know, so far, because of, I can say proudly now, I'm having 5 years, you know, I've been out of correctional center, and I never commit any crime. You know, I'm with peace with myself. You know, the way I talk, you know, I don't just open my mouth, and, you know, it has shaped me, because of there are those, you know, even some friends will say, no, let's give Theo some couple of months. He will join us today, but I'm free from crime. I'm so happy I'm free from crime, and now I'm willing to with the tools that I got, I'm willing to go to the youth, because they are the one that are still in the dark, and they are the one who still need to be taught that, because the thing is, sometimes I become so emotional, really, and yes, my task is, because of with what I you know, I used to do. Yes, I do have so many regrets, because of the reason why I'm having these regrets. And sometimes I do feel guilty conscience that some of these youth that has taken the wrong path, I'm a part of their action. So it is my duty to go out there to engage myself with them with this program, Smiling One, because almost every day I do meet with them because they admires me. So it is an advantage to me, to sit with them and tell them that whatever that they used to see in me, it was just the mask. It was not me. So I can spend a day when it comes to express myself with Smiling One, and I'm as I've said, I'm willing to accumulate with what I have, to the youth, to just give them love and hope, because tomorrow they are going to be fathers. So they mustn't postpone the happiness. They must start designing their happiness now, being responsible to take charge of your actions, not to take blame game. Smiling Ones, it's my soul. It's what I live. It's what I breathe, because we are in our environment, in the location. It's really challenging. But Smiling One, with the TRI tools that I have, it has made me things, to be much easier. And the advantage for me, they may relate to me, they know me very well. And now, as I'm a student coach, it's my role to play. It's my role to play, just to guide them, just tell them that, because what you call it, change is it's a process. It takes some time. It takes some time, but the very important thing is because of what I've done, I have cherished my past and I have taken ownership of my wrongdoings, and I can't put it aside, my past, because of my past is the one that give me the guideline in my current moments of my life. I thank you guys.
Sure. Thank you, Theo. You always, oh wow, I mean the tears just keep coming, and I mean your story is really powerful, and we walked such an incredible journey. And I remember back in, I think 2009, 2010, in Maximum, Bromowitz Maximum, and you're standing on one side of the bars. I was waiting to be led through into the session space. Hey, and you were standing there, and we were like standing really close, and you're like, I don't know if I can quit crime, right? And just to have experienced your journey over the years, Theo, has been remarkable. And you touch all of our hearts deeply, and we feel you and we honor you and we love you. You're such a treasured part of our team and Smiling One. So thank you for being here today and for that. And thank you for being who you are and for choosing the light in you and for sharing that so abundantly with your community. I honor you deeply. We honor you deeply. Thank you.
Thanks, dear.
Thank you. Paul, would you like to share about you and how are you connected?
Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Bromowitz. Well, I'm connected through you, my love. I'm Karina's partner. I feel very, very lucky to be. I had the privilege through Karina, sort of vicariously, of watching SmilingOne grow in amazing directions over the years, and it's been thrilling and really rewarding. I've been on a personal journey tour of my own since my teens, I suppose, and got more heavily involved in personal development work. I suppose 1998, I was privileged to, with a number of men, bring the Mankind Project to South Africa, which is a consciousness movement for men. It's a leadership training experience for men to expose men, sometimes for the first time, to what real vision, mission, and purpose means in their lives. Teachings like accountability and responsibility, and since then, I would say in 2010, I've moved into the fascinating and rewarding work of conscious sexuality, work for men and couples, working with curious people who want to find self-mastery in their lives with conscious sexuality and intimacy included. And as I get older, I become more aware of the urgent, great responsibility that we have as elders to do our own personal work, take it seriously, and the same responsibility to leave some wisdom and solutions behind when it's time for us to go. So in a sense, to get into right relationship with the cycle of life, or to come back into the right relationship with the cycle of life, perhaps where our tribes and our people were thousands of years ago, more in touch with nature and this beautiful cycle. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited to be checking in today for the AGM and an update of how the last year has been, and how it's been grasped and opportuned by this trailblazing, amazing, committed organization. What a year it's been. I think one of the things that's really impressed me in this last year of primary lockdown has been the way that SmilingOne has taken the year and harnessed it as such an opportunity to deepen and grow, and that despite the difficulties, the level of quality and engagement and commitment and inspiration that you all bring, those of you who serve the community, has been so phenomenal, and it only seems to have intensified. Through the year, Karina has shared so many of the enthusiastic testimonies from the learners, and the very moving and deeply supportive testimony too from teachers who, you folks are out there on the front line and dealing with complex and complicated issues that the learners bring to the school. So deep honoring to you, and through your testimonies, I've been able to feel into the profound honoring that each of the learners and the teachers carry for the gifts that the SmilingOne team brings. The change agents, your vast experience, your insights, your wisdoms, your honesty and vulnerability, which really shines through, even though we're talking on Zoom and it's all electronic. So I'm really looking forward to hear some of your personal stories, Theo, Bradley, Franklin, Tulani, and Keenan. Lovely to see you. And everyone who's been involved, to find out how the year has been for you, and how you're looking to build on the foundations that are so sturdy, to move into the year ahead with even greater efficacy and connection and commitment. So very happy and privileged to be here. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Thank you so much. Wow. It's profound also, of course, to be witnessed so deeply, and to hear each one of you, Paul, and all here today, to have all this support. And also thank you, Paul, because you are such a profound support also in a really difficult year, which is challenging. But to be able to understand that we can do nothing on our own, you know. So thank you for being there as an incredible support also in my life, and for what I do. So thank you. Thanks. Yeah. And it's so lovely. So now we all know who is who, and who has joined us today. And so I sent you all the minutes of our last year AGM that Natalie so beautifully have compiled for us. And as custom is at every AGM, that's the first thing we're doing. We are adopting the minutes from the last year. So I'm just asking, especially the team, but all of you, you know, to just help me adopt the minutes of our last year AGM. Yay, wonderful. So that we can jump into presenting this year, which is the 2020-21 financial year. And to do that, I'm so excited, because this is the first time where the actual presentation of our report, it takes place in our online academy, So it's so exciting for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. I'm going to make sure we have sound on. Here we go. So one of the big things for us this year has been the development in the fire of this big global shake-up, and what we could also frame as a reset moment has been the opportunity to take all our teachings online. And this, of course, allows us today to actually have our annual report in a almost like a website format, so that I also encourage you after the AGM, you're welcome to share this page as well, this annual report website, with those around you, where you can go in and really deepen that and enjoy it, read more in depth about it. And there'll be different clickable options, you know. So just to share a little bit also about the SmilingOne Foundation. So the SmilingOne Foundation is like the NPO leg of SmilingOne, and SmilingOne is the home of the Circles of Change Academy. And what's really important to understand, also what is really exciting for me, is that this academy will also allow us to have a long-term fundraising engine. So at this stage, 10% of all income from this online academy goes into the SmilingOne Foundation projects, which is, of course, projects like, so you'd have heard with the teachers and the students, projects in schools, and also very importantly, our flagship project, which is in prison. So all these beautiful change agents, those are the raw diamonds that we met inside prisons. Our prison projects have been paused during the pandemic for obvious reasons. We, of course, can't wait to get back in, especially with this elevated approach that we have today, where we have all our teachings online as well. And we've even added more programs to initiate people onto the learner path. So we're really excited. So our focus at the SmilingOne Foundation in particular is crime prevention, crime diversion, and social cohesion. So this is just to kind of frame so that you deeply connect to, so where does SmilingOne Foundation fit in the SmilingOne and the Circles of Change Academy? So I welcome you to our world, and we are so passionate about people and development. I'm sure you've already heard it and felt it during the beautiful testimonials shared today. And we are, of course, on a mission of unlocking South Africa's full potential. And we do that one person at a time. And our purpose is really to inspire personal value-based leadership wherever we go. So it's really a privilege to take you through our annual report, to present to you our year in this really creative and innovative way. And it really showcases how we as a team has leveraged the challenge of the pandemic, how we've shifted gears and taken our entire approach to the next level. And I really want to highlight and say that we could not have done this without the help of our sponsors and our loyal supporters in a hugely difficult year. So thank you. And it's been such an important season for us to take this growth and expansion and use it as a stepping stone, and really take our value-based leadership programs that we are able now actually to take it to more and more people, because with an online approach, we can scale the approach and reach many more. So I'm also excited about the years to come. So a difficult year through the pandemic has been the year where we have really upgraded ourselves. And I want to say also, and I'm sure you felt that also in my, and just in me feeling into everybody's sharing, the teachers, the students, I honor you deeply. I so honor you for walking the journey next to us. And it's been such a tough year, and you've just shown up and taken it to the next level. And I have the deepest respect for you. So I just want to welcome you, all of you, welcome you to our annual report. Our green report, meaning we are cutting less trees. Well, actually, no trees were cut in the process of making this report. So what you'd see here is what is important for us as a foundation is that we are guided by our foundation, by our values, by our mission. And all of us understand, and it's a big part of our approach is, and part of our point of view is, we understand you're not what happens to you. And this is really, really important because, I mean, we work with being, responsibility, ownership of ourselves and our journeys. And as Leander Theo beautifully said, we have all these emotions. So to take charge of that is so powerful. But it starts with to understand, I'm not what happens to me. So we are providing enabling platforms in South African high-risk environments. We are providing a team of SmilingOne change agents, and you met them today. We're also providing our Awakened Leadership approach, which is our value-based leadership programs. And those we offer to our students who we enroll in our Circles of Change Academy. So there we have the responsible individual. You've heard TRI manual, TRI toolkit. So that is the responsible individual depth coaching methodology. Then we have our Awakened Leadership toolkit, the wheel of consciousness, and our initiation process into the journey, which is our Reclaim Your Power. And we're offering this, providing this so that you, each of our students, can champion your change and activate the leader within you. So this is really important, that this is kind of what guides us in all we do. This is our approach. And we're guided by our values and our vision. And it's really important to have these North Stars, these guiding principles. And I'm sure you could have also heard it in Theo's sharing and testimonial, that the values is what keeps him on track. And it is also what keeps me on track. It's what keeps our foundation on track. We are obsessed about being consistent in our approach. We're very transparent. So everything we do, we it can all be reviewed, our AGMs, our financials. That's why we also have this yearly AGM, so that we can showcase everything about our year. Reliability is really important to us. It's very important also when you work with beneficiaries in the different communities, that they know they can count on us. When we commit, we are fully there. Communication is something we work on continuously. It's one of the biggest struggles actually for most people and in most communities, is that we don't understand each other. So communication is something we really are obsessed about, that we understand each other. And also as a team, we practice this value and to be open with each other. We always come from deep love and care and respect. That is what drives us. We respect the journeys of each human being. We don't see it as a wrong or right. That's also, and I'm sure, with going into prisons, we are in deep honoring of these journeys, and we know how easy it is to get lost on the journey, but also that we all deserve a chance to awaken to so much more of ourselves, and that we can all remember again who we are and why we're here. So we're really driven by being a team and a foundation of integrity, and to really, what we say is also what we do. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, our vision is social cohesion, crime diversion, and prevention. This is part of our clarity of why we show up and what it is that we did to help, and also to help communities to kind of step into cohesion, and that we're all developing as a community. And if it's a community on larger scale, if it's a prison community, a school community, if it's just a family as a little community in its own, and to have and see we can thrive on these shared values. We can thrive on shared challenges, and those are our equal opportunities, and we can learn to walk united in diversity. And it starts that we each one know that starts with a better me. It means I have a responsibility for a better we, which is our shared responsibility. And that we as we develop as a community, we are committed and we're passionate, and we all contribute to the well-being of everyone in society, and that we all are part of building bridges instead of those walls, so that we can break down some of those walls. So we firmly believe in SmilingOne, that we all own a share in the well-being of our society. So when we take that vision into action, we do that by following 5 guiding principles. And the first one is that we facilitate circles of change in highly challenged South African communities, so prisons, schools, high-risk environments, where we, again, as I shared, take in our programs and our models. We educate change agents. This is a really important part of our approach. Change agents are at the core and heart at what we do, because those are the people, the souls that facilitate all our processes within the communities, in prison, family, schools, with youth at risk, in businesses, in organizations, society at large. And it is these change agents that are our role models. And they also assist the important phase of reintegration, so we can reduce the recidivism rates. And for parolees, so each change agent here has also been a parolee. Some of them are still parolees. So they can build a bridge back home to society and into their families. And we, as SmilingOne, we are an empowerment arm for our beneficiaries, their families and communities. And what is really important part of our approach is that we don't do it for them, we do it with them. So we love this saying, that when you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So our entire approach, our circles of change, it empowers an entrepreneurial journey, so that each student that journeys with us steps into entrepreneurship and can actually activate sustainable livelihood for themselves. And we believe strongly, and this is our 5th guiding principles, we believe in sustainability. So whatever we bring into a community, we want that they can stay there, that it can be nurtured there for continuous learning and continuous growth. So I also would like to share with you, before we go into the meat of the project and go to the school project, which Franklin is going to share about, just to share with you the last 14 years. I'm sure you're curious about, so where did it all begin? I mean, what are some of those tools? How were they developed? Where does it come from? So I just want to take you a little bit back. So actually, back in 2002, so we're further back, of course, where I lost my partner and the father of my children. We lost him in a car accident, and that became a catalyst for my own healing journey. And it is this healing journey, in the fire of that journey, that the depth coaching methodology was actually born and shaped. And in 2008, I published the book, The Responsible Individual, which is the core of our methodology. It is our manual. And in 2008, we also had a sponsor, ABC Press, who printed us 2,000 copies, and we donated a lot of those into our prison processes. It enabled us to actually, bring them into these projects. In the first prison process, I was sitting with my notes of the book, so they were still sitting with all my notes and book in writing, and then we published in June 2008. And the program just spread like wildfire, because we were not, of course, just into to do the program. We educate change agents and coaches, and the men was then being transferred to other prisons, to medium prisons. So within a few years, we were in 7 prisons, and a few years later, we added the Portsmouth prison, which then became the 8th prison process. So it was phenomenal to see the impact already in those early years. And as I said a little bit earlier, to find these raw diamonds, all of this potential inside prison, people who we often throw away because they've committed crime. And I understand the pain. I want to be deeply respectful as well. I've been a victim of crime myself, but we also got to understand that there is so much potential in there when we can give these men, and I'm talking particular to men, and I know we also have a female population inside prison that we also want to reach. But in the last many years, we've focused mostly on men. I said, if you can gift the women and men of our country and awaken, the women and children, of our country, an awakened man, it is one of the greatest gifts you can give. So that is why it's been part of our focus in the beginning, to focus on men. And they've really, those raw diamonds has been polished through our Circles of Change educational engine. And they have then, upon reintegration, taken our project into their communities, which is why we today also are in we've been in so many different communities. So also in the first 5 years between 2008 and 2013, the approach got polished, and the Circles of Change, the educational engine of how we develop coaches and change agents, was really firmly embedded and kind of cemented. Our 3 pillars in this Circles of Change, so the sharing practice, the caring practice, and I'm a resource practice. And that is actually the format of our Circles of Change education also today. And of course, there's a lot of ingredients within each pillar, but that is it's something that really informs our approach. And then the 8 years that followed, from 2013 to 2021 today, we really have learned a lot from the different processes, both the prison processes. We've also taken our academy, our teachings into corporate. We work with executive and teams for the past 8-9 years. We've journeyed with families, schools, and youth. And here I want to highlight again, as I said, that once we help with the reintegration, those men go back into the community. And Franklin, who's also going to introduce the school project to us, it was his dream to really touch the youth. And he started very early on his first school project. I remember it was, I think it was grade 6 at Witzig primary school. I still remember the garden project that you ran there. And then later on into Mount View High, and other schools came along as pilot projects, which was profound. It's wonderful to experience all the seeds planted. And of course, we've journeyed a lot with leaders, coaches, entrepreneurs, and there is a strong entrepreneurial element in our approach. And that's really important, that we are both specialized in depth, so that really to get into the root of the emotional landscape, and also from there then to stretch and really open up to our dreams and fully unleash the greatness, this seed of greatness that is within each one of us. So I'm really excited about the depth and the width that our toolkit has for our students. And I did speak a little bit about our programs already, and we're going to tap into that a little bit later as well. And then the coach educational training that keeps being refined alongside the academy. We keep learning. We are students of Awakened Leadership. And it's been amazing to see more and more travel companions coming alive. Those are the coaches and change agents that journey alongside our beneficiaries. And also, as I said, the academy is not just for the beneficiaries, but actually for a global audience. And I think Anne is a wonderful example. She's part of our wonderful AGM today, somebody who found us and the academy, that we can use the academy also as a fundraising engine. So this is a little bit about our 14 years in the making just of our approach. And of course, you met already our team. I just want to highlight a few more people in our team because they couldn't be here today, but I still want us to celebrate them. So Franklin, you've met Tulani. You're going to meet him kind of through the report that Franklin is going to present at Ravensmead High. He's been a wonderful part of our team for 4 years. He journeyed. So his lamp, I remember Bradley said that Scotchy was one of his lamps inside Malmesbury Prison, inside Bromowitz Prison. Now Bradley was a lamp for Tulani. And he had Tulani in session for a couple of years before Tulani joined the coach team. So the coaches really only first get in session with me when they start their coach training. That's when they journey with me. Otherwise, they would journey with the coaches that have already been trained in our academy. And Tulani spent 2 years in our Ravensmead project and has been such a wonderful resource. I want to give thanks to him. And at the end of last year, he was also pursuing a Sangoma training, which was part of his purpose. So again, I said our educational engine, helps ignite the fire in each student. And he realized that part of his purpose was to become a Sangoma. So we're really excited about that he is following his dream. And on the way towards his dream, that he was adding so much to our project. So thank you, Tulani. You have heard from Luyanda. So just to avoid any confusion, I call him Theo. That's how he introduced himself back in 2009 and 10 to me. But his actual name is Luyanda Mtsudwana. So we call him a little bit of everything. But as we say, beloved, a beloved child has many names. So Bradley, you've heard from Bradley as well, also a beautiful resource in our team. And he was also the initiator of our Ravensmead project, but he's going to tell you all about that a little bit later. Then there's myself. You have now heard a little bit about my journey through just the path of developing the projects since we lost Torsten back in 2002. You've met Natalie, my beautiful daughter. Really excited that she gets exposed as well to community work, to being of service. I think it's such an important element of being human, to serve and to understand that there's no me without we. And I deeply appreciate all the wonderful work and what she contributes to our foundation. And to our accelerators, Keenan and Lenita, you have heard from Keenan, and I'm like, and Franklin is going to deepen that. I won't tell too much, but I am so touched and I'm so excited about this extension to our approach. So thank you both to Keenan and Lenita, who are both today ex-students and matriculants of the Ravensmead High School. Yay. So that brings us, with no further ado, I would like to hand over to Franklin to present to you our Ravensmead School project. And just unmute yourself, Franklin.
Yes, thank you, Karina. Firstly, I would like to say thank you to the Curse Family Foundation for sponsoring this project at Ravensmead High School. It has been an amazing journey for not just only for SmilingOne, but also for me as a change agent. And it has really impacted my coach education and my personal life. And then I would like to say thank you to the teachers at Ravensmead High School, both management staff and the principal, also for granting us this opportunity. The students, the accelerators who have played an amazing part, puzzle piece in the project. That was something significant that we could have never foreseen that we would join us on that level. But thank you to everyone who was part of the project. Secondly, I would like to then kick off by saying that our focus and our objective is clearly to focus on a zero dropout of high-risk students. And these are students who are at the risk of dropping out, and we achieve it through 5 objectives. I will share a bit later more about that objectives, but you're welcome to log into the online academy and see more of the AGM, our annual report. Then the Partners in Education Initiative. This was something, well, we always knew that we're going to build a partnership with the school, with the teachers, and we had a approach with bonding and really welding the relationship of student, teachers, and parents. And that was something that we always knew with that. That's our approach. That's how we would like to view the project. But something magical happened. The teachers got on board, and as you heard from Mrs. Chapter, she was so excited to see the impact from the students, and that made the teachers more curious. What's going on with these sessions? How are you guys engaging with the students? And when the teachers' involvement grew, that's when we can really say that the magic happened, having teachers as ambassadors and really inviting students into the process, into the program, into intensified sessions, and really invite me also as a change agent to host classes of exposure. It was just something magical that happened. So I would just like to take a break for a second as I play you guys a song that originated from the project and that speaks so much about how the project has touched me and also the students around me. So Karina, can you play the song?
Even rain can make a flower grow. I bet you didn't know that.
Bet you didn't know that.
I bet you didn't know that. Even rain can make a flower grow.
Makes a flower grow.
It's hard to love it. It's hard to take it.
Hey, now picture perfect, you can really take a bow. Got it life in her eyes, made her mom say it's wow. She was just a little baby when I last saw her. Was a pretty little girl, you should really see her now. Her mom showed me photos in the school uniform. I remember one day, now she was being born. And the mom took a text, she was like, God made her match me. She's like, listen here man, on my way don't try to sweat me. As she checked me, I was trying to make amends, but try to be a man. Try to show what some men can, cause it's hard out here for a girl. When every man just try to rule the world. But she got pregnant from a gangster, being pregnant made her youngster. Now she just wanna take care of baby girl. Now the family's mad and he's dead. How will she ever take care of baby girl? Now pizza perfect, you can really take a bow. Now pizza perfect, you can really take a bow. Now picture perfect, you can really take a bow. Got that life in the eyes, made a mom says wow.
Even rain can make a flower grow. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that. Even rain can make a flower grow. It's hard to love it. It's hard to take it. If you just hold on.
Hold on, girl. Hold on.
Things will be okay.
It will be okay.
Things will be
alright. Hey, hey,
Yeah.
hey. Now picture perfect, you can really take a bow. Got that life in the eyes, made her mom says wow. She was just a little baby when I last saw her. Was a pretty little girl, you should really see her now. Her mom told me that she doesn't care so much. She go out there, she doesn't return till late. She told her to go to school, all these other things can wait. But she doesn't wanna listen, so would rather so hate. It's too late for an honest conversation, for a little motivation. That's she's the situation. Before I find my daughter on the streets, before I find my daughter on the streets, is it too great that I don't wanna hoop, that I don't wanna cook, that she stays in the books? Before I find my daughter on the streets, before I find my daughter on the streets. Now I have been through much, single mother was enough. This girl should stop, wish the hurt would stop. Never thought that my mother would break my heart as such. It's too much, it's too much, man. Now picture perfect, you can really take a bow. Now picture perfect, you can really take a bow. Now picture perfect, you can really take a bow. Got that life in her eyes, made her mom says wow.
Even rain can make some flower grow. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that. Even rain can make some flower grow. It's hard to love it, yeah. It's hard to take it. If you just hold on, it will be alright. It will be okay. If you just hold on, it will be alright. It'll be okay.
Now picture perfect, you can really take a bow. Now picture perfect, you can really take a bow. Now picture perfect, you can really take a bow. Got that life in her eyes, made her mom says wow.
Thank you so much, Karina. And just to share a little bit about the song, during my time at the Ravensmead High School, I discovered there was a lot of pain and hurt that female students particularly sit with. And as a dad of a teenager myself, it touched me a bit to know how many of this, the hurt and the pain got carried forward by moms particularly. And doing house visits, I discovered that there was so much that moms sit with, that they haven't healed with, from that they haven't processed or brought to the table to really open up and understand more about. So the story was really keeping them as individuals captive, and stories that usually in the past was hurtful to them, and take them to through a process that really shut them down from trust, from hope, from care. And when I started to think about that stories and the stories of the students, I discovered that there was this one student, and she was like, also a couple of years ago, sir, I met you at the competition. I said, you met me at the competition, but I don't remember you. And she's like, oh yeah, it was that competition and you did your song and you were amazing. And I said, seriously? And she said, yeah, I so you sing. I also sing. And I was like, oh, you do sing. So let me hear you how you sing. And this amazing voice just come out of her, and I'm like, whoa, this is the voice that can tell the story. Okay, I'm going to rap the story, but it's such an enclosed market, rap and hip hop. But here's the voice comes along that really opens up to. Sissy gives me goosebumps. And when I heard she sang that song, that even the rain can make a flower grow, I was like, that's the hook. That's what we're going to use to carry the story forward of how the hurt and the pain and sometimes these situations that we go through can really give us an opportunity to grow. And as Theo shared in his sharing, that challenges are there to give us an opportunity to really see more about ourselves, to really grow and walk a journey that we least think of when we are in these dire or hurtful situations. So that's what the song is about. If I can further continue, and you can scroll down, Karina, please. So this is the students and teachers' voices. And I would just like to take a second to ask Mrs. Jafta and Mr. Ficheland if they can start share how the process, the intensified process was for them, the sessions, the coming together as a team of teachers, as colleagues, really going through that process, how it was for them in a nutshell. So Mrs. Jafta, can you share more about how it was for you going through the process?
Well, the first time we were part of a meeting of the SmilingOne meeting, I didn't really know what to expect, but I did have high expectations because as I told you before, I saw the change happening in the learner's life and the attitude at school as well. And the first session was very enlightening, and so were all the other sessions. And um, as a teacher, sometimes you think you have heard it all, you know it all, but uh, during the sessions, I'm speaking on behalf of myself. I learned so much new things, or explored so much emotions and knowledge about emotional uh, um, intelligence, if may use that phrase. Um, so yes, it was like going to school for the first time. I would say the excitement was there. The new things that you learn, you were really excited because I never thought of many experiences, personal and school experiences, so in the way that the meetings with Franklin has showed me, just trying to find the right words to express what the meetings has taught me. But yes, it has really changed my way of thinking and my way of handling challenges at school. I used to be a very, I might not say negative, but easily depressed by the situation at school, by learners' difficulties that they experience, and I didn't know how to handle it. And sometimes you end up really sad, crying, and very despondent going to school, and you feel hopeless, and you feel, what am I doing here? The children are hurting. They can't even, you can't even do your job because there are so many barriers here, and it's influencing you as well. And when I saw the change in the learners, and when I started going to the meetings, I immediately changed my way of thinking, and it became more positive. And even now, I'm more hopeful for the future and for the learners, and I enjoy my work more because I know every challenge is just a challenge, it's an opportunity to make a difference, to make a change. So yeah, I really enjoy the meetings, and I learn so much, and I know there's more to learn. And the learning process that's taking place, it's not for me, but it's for me as a citizen and as a teacher to make a difference in our society, and even in all the kids we encounter every day. Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Safta. It has also been a wonderful opportunity to journey with you. I remember that, like I said, this and your guys' participation also influence or impact positively my personal life, because why, there was this one moment you walked past me and you said, "Hey, Franklin, are you okay?" And I said, "Hey, Mrs. Safta, it's quite a lot today." And Mrs. Safta's like, "Oh, we don't worry about all these personal stuff and how things in our personal life influences us. When you come to our sessions and we share and we have this amazing time, that's all we can think about." And it really inspired me to say that yes, our personal life is challenging and is tough at times, but it is coming to these special groups, the teachers, the students, that really gives you an opportunity to take a breather from your personal life and to really being a resource and working hand in hand with other people. So thank you, Mrs. Chafta. Mr. Fichalan, can I ask you to share a few words how it was for you?
Hi everyone again.
We can't hear you, Mr. Fichalan.
Frank, can you just repeat? I said I'm just shifting rooms, and it's like my internet is like I'm in a way a little bit further away from my connection.
Yes. So the past year, 2020, 2021, has been amazing in the project where teachers joined. If I can just ask you how it was for you sitting in those sessions or in that process with the colleagues, with the team, and really working and sharing through some certain topics and concepts. Can you hear me, Mr. Fichalan?
I can hear now. Moving closer to my internet. Apologies, everyone.
Okay.
What it was like sitting in, listening.
Can continue.
I couldn't catch what you said. I missed that.
Okay. I asked, how was it for you sitting in sessions or in the process along with teachers and the team?
I think all of it is basically beneficial. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you,
Okay.
Mr. Fichalan.
Beneficial in a sense, I can probably just add on to what Ms. Jafta said. It's heartwarming to see referring a student to you, and it could have gone any other way. But just the one try, just the one step, the first step, you know, that made such a tremendous, it's an impact, and it made a huge difference. So from educators' point of view, if you look at a scenario and we're in the field where we can envision, oh, this one might end up there if he or she does not do this or that. But with this program, if I may say it like this, we've saved so many. Yeah, I don't even have words. When they come back from your classes, it's a total different child. You see the growth. You see, I have purpose. You see, I came here because I want to learn. I came here to share. I think that's one of the most beautiful things to highlight. Yeah, and if I reflect on what you said earlier on, if we look at the male and female ratio, it is mostly females. So we always tend to think what was absent, what is the origin of the issue. And from a male's perspective, it gets slightly a bit difficult. And also with you understanding our situations when we're in our work context, we don't have time for the social or the psychological, and I constantly listen to your issues. We need to get our work done. So we don't have that incorporated in our work time. But having sessions like this, being able to send learners to you, it really works wonders. So what I have learned from it, it's not just a referral thing. We also learn from every kid that we send to you, in a sense of, like I mentioned earlier, you really get to know the background. Sorry, you really get to know the background of the learner. You work closely with the learner, and once you've established that relation, I mean, the relation flourishes, the child's result flourishes, the way the child communicates with teacher and his peers, you know, and the educators. It's just such an improvement, you know. So my dream and my vision for this program is just not to stop. I mean, we've also spoke on the sideline what we can do to enhance it. How can we trigger it? How can we influence? How can we just grow it, you know, and branch out, etc. But you'll get there. I believe that we'll get there. We just like Karina said, one person at a time. I think that is my bit for now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fichelan. And I remember the conversations that we also had. And if I can highlight one thing in my personal life, how you have impacted me, not just as a teacher, but also as a person, you really have made me start to think about nutrition. Because I know when we have our conversations, we really spoke about do you have caffeine and how healthy is it and things like that. So thank you for journeying along with SmilingOne. You've really played a major impact in the Ravensmead High School project. Thank you so much. That's the voices of the teachers. And please feel free to log in. You can to our Circles of Change Academy for more of the annual report, where you can hear more of the teachers and the students' voices. If I can you scroll down a bit, Karina, please? And just open up, click on Franklin. And I would like to say to you guys about my foreword, because why it was really a delight, not just to walk next to someone, but also to feel the presence and the privilege to observe the journey that unfold in front of your eyes, from a caterpillar into a butterfly. The SmilingOne at Ravensmead High School project has given me the opportunity where I could see students and teachers who've been at a place where they've lost motivation. There seems to be no hope for the working together or the support of really assisting one another in both their careers and their educational or academical career. And that was something that I had to observe, because why, as a person, I would also like to help out, but I know that sometimes we have to give the process time to come together and really find one another. So early in 2020, starting the year off, taking over from Bradley, and later on Bradley will explain more to you guys the history of Ravensmead High School. In 2020, early 2020, we started off by introducing a recruitment phase. This is really where we go and fly the flag of SmilingOne. We go and speak to the students and to the teachers, inviting them to the intensified process. And it has been amazing. Welcomed us, and particularly because why there is a need for smart in higher situations where you have teachers and where you have students that are at the risk of dropping out. And before I knew it, we had 54 students who enrolled in the SmilingOne after school club. And thanks to Ravensmead High School, the school has not just only gave us one container, it has actually given us two containers to host as a classroom to host these sessions, both for teachers and also for students. The year went amazing. We celebrated birthdays. Students came to the containers to do tasks, to escape the busyness of the school, and really just gel and connecting with one another. And before we know it, the pandemic got introduced, and the pandemic asked us to change our approach. Now, at first, it was strict lockdown, so there was a limit in engagement, but it really gave SmilingOne an opportunity to see that how we those videos and really engaging with the students on social media, and really and making inspirational videos. That was such a new part for the team to grow together in it as a team. Because why, I was concerned about how am I gonna make videos, are my videos gonna be okay, will it really touch the students? But as a team, we came along each day working on our videos, really having meetings and combining and share amazing time together. And the video calling and the voice calling from to the students who were very much appreciated. The change agent had to find new ways to really connect with the students. It was something special for them, and sharing from what the students told me was that no one called us during this time. No one really checked up on us, and I think most of us during that time had a lot of changes to go through. And yes, SmilingOne change agents called to the students, and that was something significant. Another thing to share with them, I'm like, I always WhatsApp you guys, why don't you guys like ever WhatsApp me back? And they're like, Franklin, we don't have adults in our WhatsApp, so it's new to us. And that was something I had to get used to, but it really went well. Lockdown got lifted. We were welcome back to school. I think that it was a really changed in approach where we have so much students at school. And in non-pandemic, during this time, we had only a handful of students, 2 grades at the time. And what was powerful that the matriculants were mostly unskilled during this time. And I would like to say thank you again to the special role that the teachers play, because their role were crucial, because while they were actually the backbone of not just our society, but also our connection to the students. It is through the guidance and the dedication that young people are given the powerful tools to education, and inviting SmilingOne into that arena really made a significant partners in education relationships. So thank you so much, teachers. And for me, the best thing that I can say was about teachers coming together, really sitting in intensified processes with SmilingOne, was the fact that we couldn't see from a teacher's point of view what was the challenges and what was the struggles that teachers go through, so that we can also find ways and learn thoughts them with tools to mend their relationships with both themselves as inner work, and also between students, to bridging the gap. And that was some of the, and when I witnessed that, it really opened my eyes also as a change agent to understand more about where does the teacher come from, being being demotivated, sometimes losing hope, sometimes being confused, not how to assist the students. And that really gave us as SmilingOne clarity in the part that teachers play in the relationships between teacher, parents, and students. It was a wonderful prize, also a surprise also to experience the matriculants who make use of the SmilingOne as a resource during this time, and they went through a tough year of education. Um, I can just say thank you to the accelerators for not just themselves being in a process, sometimes for the past 2 years. And as Keenan mentioned, they have been longer in the process. So that means for them being champions of change, it was really significant to see how they invite other matriculants also in the process, where we can have exposure sessions and really come to a place, a platform that SmilingOne created in circles of sharing, to really talk about our challenges, struggles that we go through during this time of pandemic and a tough year of education. The challenging year gave us a new way of thinking and a new way of connecting, and just a new way of being with each other. I think one of the most special things that, or let's say the special babies that was born during the tough year, was the online academy, and how we could really expand in connecting with students and connecting with teachers. And so, as some of the teachers know, these courses and these connections are available online. A few of them have been enrolled. I know it's difficult finding time, but we are making progress in the Reclaim Your Power course. We are seeing more of the responsible individual course. So that is one of the most amazing things. The accelerators have been through the Reclaim Your Power course, and Let's Get Started 2021. So that has been a significant expansion and a baby being born during this tough year. I would say if I can highlight in my from my foreword, I think that when you go through a tough year and you are being shaped and molded through the tough process, it gives you an opportunity to really see what the end product will be. And to my surprise, I was so happy and so excited going forward to see how the relationships between teachers, parents, and students has really came out elevated, and where we have seen so much more about each other. So thank you so much for that, Karina. You may close that. Now I would like to speak about our 5 objectives. Um, can you click on the 5 objectives, please, Karina? This is our 5 objectives at the Ravensmead High School project. And like I said, our key focus is to focus on a zero dropout. And this is usually students who are at the risk of dropping out. And this is how our project get measured. And this is our approach. Number 1, we tackle learners' disengagement by establishing a nurturing and relatable adult through self-motivation and through confidence. And one of the key things that we've also realized is
Can you hear me, Franklin? Can you hear me, Franklin? Just see if he's jumping back in. Franklin? Okay, so I'm just going to, until he comes back online, I'm just going to jump in for him because sometimes connection can be challenging. So as Franklin says, these are the 5 key objectives. That's our guidelines. It's really important when you have a project that you are guided by specific objectives. And in the first key objective, it is about tackling learner disengagement. And the nurturing and relatable adult is the change agent. It's also where the teachers have come on board, because it's not enough just to have the change agent. Remember, we want to always leave behind like a sustainable approach. And in order to do that, we need to have more people who helps nurture this environment, which is why it's so hugely exciting for us that the teachers are on board. And of course, also more and more the parents. In the second key objective, that's where we are focused on improving school culture. And that happens through exposure sessions. And these exposure sessions, it's like touching everybody in the school environment, and also promoting and almost like selling the more intensified process that is in our objective 1, because in objective 1, that's where we have our SmilingOne Club, where the students attend an after school program and come to the club in between session. And those students, of course, through the whole exposure phase, get more and more interested. And also this is where the accelerators have been phenomenal in assisting actually to improve the school culture and to be on the grounds. And the accelerators are those who matriculated and they went through an intensified process with us and some workshops and to step in. And Franklin will talk about that just now. I hope he will come back online just now when he catches his connection again. Now, in the third key objective, it's also that once we identify in the program, you identify more and more students who are having, that are really high risk of dropping out. And those would be the students we also visit at home. It's important for the change agent to understand. Okay, it's important for the change agent to understand what is the environment that the students are growing up in, and what are they, and to get into the homes and into the families. So Franklin, I just want to see if you're back online. I just stepped in for you to explain the first three key objectives. You can just jump in again if you're back. Let's see. Otherwise, I'll just continue. You just jump back in at the moment that you have your audio back on, because I can't hear your audio. So in the fourth key objective is, oh, Franklin, just unmute yourself.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so I just jumped in for you because we lost you for a while. I just explained to them the first three key objectives. So the first one, SmilingOne Club intensified process. The second one, school culture, which is a more exposure approach, where they also students join the more intensified process because they are, of course, curious about deepening themselves and the opportunity to become champions of change. And then, of course, you guys going into the family homes to help with the family relationships, but also to understand the context of a student's journey and the home environment, and where to support and build bridges between the parents and the students. So back to you.
Yes. If you can just scroll down a bit, Karina.
Oh, just take a key objective 4 and 5. I didn't talk about that yet.
Oh, okay. So objective number 4 is to really work with the children, learners through the SmilingOne Child Protection Policy and Engagement Guide. This is where we find clarity in the engagement guide, how to engage with students, and also clarity in our approach in terms of the child protection policy. It's really to direct our focus and our purpose, and in so also the online academy with the scaled approach, where we can share with the world and with students and teachers online how to connect with our courses. Objective number 5, this is funding and collaboration for the project moving forward. Thank you so much to the Curse Family Foundation, which has played a significant role, and a 3 years commitment funding the project. And the sustainability really going forward, we really like to look for more funders and those who really are partners in education to keep the project going forward. Thank you. You can close down, Karina. Now, in the project, we have spent 4,860 project hours. That's between 4 team members. And we have had, on an average, exposed 383 students on a monthly average. We had 337 intensified sessions in our SmilingOne After School Club, and 54 were enrolled, plus were active, and
We're losing you, Franklin. Can you hear me, Franklin? So I'm just going to jump in, and Franklin, you're just going, the moment you come back in connection, you're just going to break through me and my voice. It's just so that we don't lose the thread. So as you were saying that the entire team, 4 people, spent 4,860 project hours at the Ravensmead project. On average, a monthly average, about 383 students were exposed to our program. Now, I want to highlight here that in non-pandemic times, we would normally expose more than 1,000 students per month. But we, of course, needed to use this, and we did use this challenge as an opportunity to really deepen our approach, also with the students already enrolled. So a lot of the sessions, so like the 337 sessions of intensified students, they were also facilitate at the students' homes. So the change agents went into the homes, on the front, in the front yards, on the balconies, in the apartments, just to make sure that there was social distancing, to facilitate the program. So not one single day was wasted in terms of getting to the students. And as Franklin said a little bit earlier, 54 students had enrolled. About 30 students were really active on a regular basis. It was not always easy, or some students that were not always easy to get to due to the pandemic. But they really showed these change agents then went over and above to meet the families and the students during these really challenging times. And also, and Franklin mentioned that a little bit earlier with the grade 12s, also that because they were in the first few months, they were actually the only students at school, more and more of the grade 12s actually found the SmilingOne Club. They came to the change agents, and also they championed the fellow students to come to the project. And also, and what I want to add here actually is, because those grade 12s, of course, and grade 11 were already part of our project, they already knew the value and the benefit for them in the program in their grade 12. So that's also, we know that an investment into a school project, it takes some years to really, those seeds, once they're planted, that they grow. And we've seen that for the grade 12s, how they really championed themselves and the project. And I know the teachers has also seen wonderful results. And of course, we then have the teachers who joined as well and became champions actually for the students, for the projects, and encourage the students to join and be with SmilingOne in the intensified process. So the students and the teachers have really become a committed partner in education in the project. And also the entire school. I mean, our partnership with the school has strengthened significantly. Franklin, are you back?
Yes, I'm
okay,
back.
So I'll hand over to you. So I just came to the last line, that the project has been used by the school as the official learner support. So I'll get back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Karina. And as we continue to build and nurture on our relationship with our army of support, that's how significant school has been. If you can scroll down, thank you. So at school, and also I would take this time again to invite everybody to see the annual report on our online academy. If you can just click on photos, Karina, at the school. Yes, so this is our activity, and as you can see, say in the second photo or the middle photo on top, sometimes we had to take session even outside of class to have a bit of social distancing to really start sharing, and really obtain to the COVID-19 policies at school and at the institute during that time. You can see how the teacher session is really and mask. So during this time, I am just in awe how the activity really unfold at school. Also, students understanding that SmilingOne was a resource at this stage. Was a resource, and also teachers stepping into that resource. And thank you so much, Karina, for your project visits during that time. Because well, as you can see, other students also found it special to also connect with you. And yes, so feel free to see more about our activity in our online academy in our annual report. The house visits. Also, sorry, Karina. Also, don't forget, when you visited the annual report in the online academy, please click on the disengagement and the culture. We will find out more about the at school activities. The house visits. The house visits was so special, and I would like to take this time by thanking Tsulani Sikwana, who has been an amazing change agent in the project. It was such a special moment doing the house visits, even though we understood. Can you click on the photos, please, Karina? Even though we've understood to adhere with COVID-19 rules and policies at that stage, we also had an amazing times doing not just only house visits, but also visit the community. If I can take one of the stories in the high-risk area, it was a huge risk for us as change agents to do these house visits as we are unfamiliar. Many of the gang members feel threatened about anyone's moving in the area. There are so much criminal activity happening and also shooting in these areas. Yet we take the time and the opportunity, not just because why our students knew us, but also our parents knew us. So it gave us a bit of familiarity as we move in these areas. It was a great sacrifice that benefit in the most magnificent ways, where we build on our bond with families, on our bond with students, and also our bond with the community who really support this process of us doing house visits. And like I said before, that small touch of engagement really shows parents and students that we care. I remember on this one call, I was calling one of the mothers, and I said, "Oh, are you is your student at home? Can I come and visit?" Oh, and she asked me, "Oh, does the school do house visits?" And I said, "It's actually in partnership with the school. We, as Smiling One, are in partnership with the Ravensmead High School, and we would like to visit your child to see how she's doing and also to see how you are doing." And she was so in awe. "I didn't know the school does house visits." So that was something significant to see happening in the community, where you have the school actually reaching out to homes. I can definitely say thank you to all of the students, and especially the matriculants who really invited us. As you will hear from Keenan, we did a bit of house visit to him once in a while, just to make sure Keenan is a four-way. And really the support, man, that was something significant. Thank you so much, Karina. You can close. Yes, and please do not forget to please click on the icons underneath the photos to see more of the annual report. And to share more about the house visits, it was so amazing having parents also in session during this time. And I think one of the blessings that really came along was the fact that we could then get parents at home when we did this house visits. And I think I have to share one of the testimonials of a mother who I dearly got to know during this time, her story. She shared more about her family. I get to show family photos from years back, all of the family members. So that was an amazing experience. But I would just like to share, read out loud one of the mothers' testimonials. The program helps. There are things that my daughter now opens up about with you guys that I am not aware of. I've seen her sharing when I am sitting there. She was not like that before. She is much more calmer than before. I have been speaking to her a lot about jumping to conclusions and being too quick to react. She has a softer way of handling her challenges now. I think that more parents should enroll their children in the program. Your child can learn a lot by being in the program. My child was very aggressive and had a hard way of speaking and handling things. She's so much different. I felt in most cases that you are here for me, not just for my daughter. I feel like the sessions, house visits, was for me. I get to see my daughter in the session when she shares, but I also see myself. There was this one time you guys had session with her, and I felt it is for me. And that is some of the amazing testimonials and also gates which we've opened to really nurture the relationship between not just mother and daughter, but also between student and parent. So feel free to log in to see more about the annual report and read more of the parents' testimonials. Thank you, Karina. You can scroll down. And here is the special part of the project. I'm so excited. So if I can start off with the grade 12s, who has played such a significant role in the project this year. It was a very tough year in education for the grade 12s. And to see them coming to the peak of the primary and secondary education, we had such a privilege spending time with them at the valedictory. I know laughs and nerves were there during this time, but just to see the joy of the matriculant students who has completed their journey of 12 years in primary and secondary education was such a blessing to be part of. So thank you to the students. And if I might say, most of them have passed, and not only just pass, they have passed with a bachelor to really shows me they have been working hard. They have been focusing really to continue the next step of their academic career. So thanks to the TRI tools and for them tapping into the Smiling One Foundation. The next event is Women's Day. I get chills when I speak about that. I think that I was not big on giving flowers to females, but I really thought the event was for the ladies. It was for the women. It was for the girls at the Ravensmead High School. But really what I got out of it was I felt so special being a part of that day as a man, because I had no idea how such a small gift who shows them really we recognize and see them as females and as women really could play a significant part in their lives and how it touched my life. So thank you so much to the team for putting the event together. To Karina, thank you so much for really initiating the event. It was a special day. Thank you. And our workshop hike, our hike session, such a beautiful event. So the matriculants was preparing for the finals. So we had SmilingOne had a hiking session with him just to get in the preparation and the start of the finals. And what was so significant this day was to see the laughs, to see the special moments, how students really became aware of how nature and how everything that they wish to achieve in life is within them. 12 years in primary and secondary education has really developed them academical tools to really stand in their finals and say that I have the ability to complete my matriculant year. And might I say, all of them that you see in the picture have passed, and feel free to come to the annual report and see more about the video also that is in our annual report, and see more sharing from the guys on the mountain and the significant part. Thank you so much, Karina. And also remember to click on the icons to see more of the annual report. And if you can scroll down, Karina. Oh, the accelerator. How can I forget about the accelerators? Sorry, Keenan. I would like to share more about the accelerators. Keenan is here with us today, and it has been an amazing journey having the accelerators there. I would like to firstly say thank you to the two out of five students that we have chosen in the accelerator program, who have really gel and come into the project as beacons and as guiding lights to show the other students how important it is for stepping into the intensified program. So if I can ask Keenan, if you can share more about how it was for you being an accelerator.
So Franklin, I'm not sure if we still have Keenan here, because Keenan ran out. He wrote to me a little bit earlier that he ran out of his very fast, ran out of battery. You know, he did try to get back, but of course I know it uses a lot, and he was trying to get away from all the funeral noise. But let's see if he gets back on, and we can see, you know, then we can take him back. But otherwise, we also have his testimonial down here. So
yes, thank you so much to Keenan and Lanita. I think that one thing that I have to say is that the Ravensmead High School project, it really makes up it's a lot of students that we expose to the responsible individual and the intensified process. And by having Keenan and Lanita there, as you can see in the photo at the bottom, where Lanita and Keenan is also going to classes to speak to the grade 8s and to the grade 9s. And I appreciate that amazing puzzle piece they were to the grade 8s and to the grade 9s, who could have a relatable teen along with them, really showing them the significance and the magic of the SmilingOne After School Club. So that was amazing to have along there next to us. And just thank you again, Keenan and Lanita. Thank you so much. If you can scroll down, Karina, I would like to take this time to ask you to please share more about our engagement part.
Thank you, Franklin. Sure, I'm just so touched by listening to the project, and again, as I shared, you know, when I introduced our annual report a little bit earlier, that we have to have incredible focus, and we understand exactly what it is that we are there to do. And I think that's also why our projects are so successful, and why the Ravensmead project also is showing such fruit, is because we follow a very strict approach, you know, so we don't sideline. We are there to do what we're there to do. And in order to do that is, so we have our enabling platform, we have our programs, and our task is to create this nurturing environment. And as I said, we want to create sustainability. So I'm just first jumping to the nurturing environment. So there we have the change agents that are guiding and supporting the process, that are relatable. They understand the challenges of the environment, of growing up in such communities. They understand crime, they understand gangs. And then, of course, as over the last 2 years, we activate fellow students, and the grade 12 students are a great example of that, of being part of now the nurturing environment, the accelerators, so that they can help engage other students. And now, yay, teachers on board, also walking a similar engagement path, tapping in to the programs that are offered via our Circles of Change Academy that is facilitated by the change agent, and the enabling platform that is facilitated by this changes with our programs. That takes place via the exposure classes, via SmilingOne Club, which is the intensified process, through the house visits where we go into the homes, as you saw. Everybody at the school environment has an academy pass. They are our beneficiaries. They can access all our programs. And then there's the one-on-one sessions, especially during the pandemic. The change agent has gotten really close to the students and the families to really understand what is happening and how to best support, because we've got to be clear on what is it that the struggle is, so we can help them towards the progress and really champion themselves and their education so that they can build a career and become, incredible puzzle pieces and contributors in our society. So this is our engagement path and our strict focus that we work with every single day in all our projects. Back to you, Franklin.
Thank you, Karina. If you can scroll down. Yet again in the project, something that really touched me, and like I said, even the song really started from having stories like this. There's one of the students we have been really getting involved with, and I remember that it really got intensified up to the approach where her mom called me this one time, and her mom asked me, "You need to come to me. I think my daughter she's giving up hope. She doesn't want to go to school anymore." And I remember, along with Tulani, we just dropped everything and said, let's just take a few minutes and go visit her. And as we visit her, she really started to explain to us why she doesn't want to go to school. And it's usually this challenging time that really brings us to an emotional space, which allow us sometimes to make decisions that are really not beneficial to us or help assist us with our progress. But I would like to share just this sharing with you. My favorite TRI concept is the wind. The first time I encountered that concept, I saw myself the way I am. Sometimes I am rough, and other times I am quiet. To connect with a change agent has been great. It helped me to learn a lot. I could handle things now in a certain way. It was difficult to handle my challenges before. The biggest thing that changed for me was my manners. I was rude. I was always out on the street and went adventuring with friends, out to parties all the time. The party girl is gone. I should pay more attention to within the person that I want to become. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Smiling One for being there for me, and that assisted me to pass grade 10. There were times that I wanted to give up, and they have encountered me to stay in school and work on my dreams to finish school for a greater future and what I want to achieve one day. And I know it is a really important thing for me to also highlight the situations that the students sometimes find them in. But the students really find them in a process. If I can make sharing about Wadine's process. Wadine struggled with an absent father who refuses to acknowledge her. She was having multiple risk activities like drinking, smoking, partying, just being out with friends, and really place her school career in jeopardy. She wanted to give up in 2020. However, when her mom called, we gave her more intensified house visits. Since then, we saw her coming more to class. She's been really active. And starting school 2021, when I met Wadine, she has been realistic about grade 11. And that's sometimes one of the things that can really assist you when you become real about your situation. And when Dean told me, yes, grade 11 is going to be tough, but I welcome this challenge because I believe that I can do well in grade 11. And that shows me that the Wadine is now clear on her focus and what she wants to achieve. So that's one of the most amazing stories. And feel free once again to log in and we'll report on our online academy to read more of the students' testimonials. And if I can take this time sharing about the history, would be Bradley. And if I can give it over to Bradley.
Thank you very much, Franklin, for your deep sharing, for your honest sharing, and for your support to the learners, to the SmilingOne team, and to the community as a whole. I was released in 2018 from prison into a world which I guess I feared at that time. During the years, as I've previously said, I've been journeying with Karina inside of prison. I developed my TRI tools. I had sessions with other prisoners. I started realizing that I have a potential that can change a lot of things about me.
You're falling out, Bradley. Can you hear me? Bradley? We'll just wait for a moment. Let's see if we can get Bradley's voice back. Can you hear me? Otherwise, we're just going to tap back in. I'm just going to wait for Bradley to come back, but I'm just going to share a little bit and then he will. So please just jump in when you can hear me again, Bradley and Franklin, when you're back on. Sometimes it is like that with connectivity, but we're doing what we can. And I think this is a good illustration of how we work as a team. We just help each other, and that's what we do in our project as well. We're just dealing with the challenges as they come up, and doing our best to really feel into the opportunity of this. So I really, really appreciate Bradley's. Also, he's so contagious, and it's been incredible to work with him for all those years inside prison and to assist his reintegration, and to also feel, even if it was tough coming out, to feel his desire to really now contribute to the society. And he in his circles of change education, remember those 3 pillars I spoke about, the sharing pillar, the caring pillar, and the resource pillar. So part of his caring pillar was to find a caring project where he would be active, where he would give time, and he wasn't paid for that project. And then what happens when those projects become a caring project, if we find a funder, that caring project then moves in to become a resource project where the change agents gets paid for the project. So Franklin and Bradley, whenever you're back, you're just going to jump in and interrupt me. Okay, you're back to you.
Yeah, so as I was sharing, what was important for me was also to establish a platform where I can also showcase what I've learned so far, and I needed a lot of learning to be able to walk this journey outside. So my fear was actually good because that also learned me to trust my own abilities. And I guess during my first sessions with Karina, that was the things that we really needed to add to our lives in order to find our value as individuals again. I think in 2018, I decided that my caring practice will be to involve myself with the youth in order to plant a seed of change. I told my team about it and I discussed it, and I told him I would really love to start a school project, even if I can do it in my caring project where there's no funds, where I do voluntary things for my community. I can remember the morning when I approached Ravensmead's principal. I was very nervous. Oh my world, I was very nervous. I still asked in front of the reception, can I please speak to the principal of Ravensmead? And then he came out and he said he didn't have time now, and I must come back later. But I told him this is very important to me, sir. And he said, I give you 5 minutes. And that 5 minutes, although I was so nervous, I learned to trust myself and trust my abilities, because that is what I've been trained with. And now I have a chance to develop my tools, to sharpen my tools. I can remember sitting in the office and I wasn't sure should I tell him I'm coming out of prison, because he thought, okay, this is a nice looking guy, he's well dressed. And by the time I told him about SmilingOne and our purpose and where it started, like now the history,
Can you hear us, Bradley? You know, it's like one of those moments, like really anticipating this beautiful story that you're sharing, and we're keeping the audience in suspense. So it's like, so when you can hear me, Bradley, you're just going to interrupt me again, and I'm just going to take over until you just, you know, step back in. And it was powerful to see how Bradley really started to activate and use the tool. And as he just said, and it's also what we shared a little bit earlier, you know, that you gotta not give the fish, but teach a man to fish, and you'd feed him for a lifetime. So the change agents are really thrown in to the deep end when they come out to find these projects that we're then that is going to be part of their education, developing more of their toolkit, and then also to help find funding for the project. And we were at that stage between 2018 and 2019 getting in touch with the Kirsch Family Foundation, and we met with George, who back then was our contact at the Kirsches. And Bradley and we went to have a meeting with him, and Bradley shared his story, and we had a meeting. It was about an hour long, and George was deeply touched by Bradley's story and his sharing, and George could see the vision and the potential of that project. And I mean, we didn't really have an expectation of getting a 3-year grant, but actually what George came back to with us, he said, the Kirsch family would like to fund you for 3-4 years in the Ravensmead project. So that was incredible. And the grant started in March 2019, where the project that had already run for a little bit more than I think 8 months, 6 to 8 months, where Bradley had volunteered the project, started to kind of build the army of support, to build the partnership with the school. And then we entered into a more formal contract with the school in 2019, where Bradley and Tulani, they were driving the first project. Yeah, so Bradley, whenever you get back, you just step in and interrupt. And not that you're interrupting, by the way, but I would love your voice in here. And in that first project year, and if you're curious about the first project year, we do have a 22-minute long video here where you both have testimonials from, you know, the Mr. Roman, Mrs. Landsberg, Mr. Bowman as well speaks to. We had a volunteer into the project coming from Denmark. She was with us for 6 weeks. So there was a lot of beautiful ingredients in that first project year. So if you're curious, I'm not going to play it now, but you can visit the annual report here and just dive in. And then this video, which it was taken just like 3 weeks before the pandemic, and where we had no idea what was going to happen. And when you watch that video, which is a birthday celebration, our aim was to every single month we're going to celebrate, you know, we're going to, in our SmilingOne Club, have set birthday celebrations for our intensified students in the process. And you could really feel the vibe. And we'd also had the start of the year was just incredible, February 2020. So there was just this beautiful energy and build up for, wow, what's to come. And then, of course, 3 weeks later, the pandemic hit us. And of course, the report we have presented today, and that Franklin so beautifully has presented and shared with us today, is what we then did in that project year, our last project year. But this is really important for you to see, how did the project get there? Like you also saw, so how did our entire approach come alive over the last 14 years? This is how the Ravensmead project came alive and has touched students as teachers. And we are really excited about the potential for the third year. Bradley, you back? So
Yes,
I spoke all the way here, but you just jump in and share as well.
Okay. Firstly, I really apologize for my unstable connection. Yes, so we went to the staff room and I shared my testimonial with the teachers. And because I was sharing from the heart, I think the teachers could feel into my honesty, and it's something I will always remember. And I think starting from that platform, you know, and showing others, you know, what TRI has done for me was one of the most beautiful things, because I think if I started it differently, things would have never been the same at Ravensmead. We also started out the project. It was very beautiful to see how it flourished, because that connection with the teachers allowed me to have a connection with the children as well. And after that, we saw that the school really had a necessity to have SmilingOne available more at the school. And they also asked us if we could provide like more platforms for us to engage with the students. I think that is also where we had a discussion with the team, and then in due course time we met George. He was from Curse Family Foundation, and we had a meeting with him, and he also asked the question to me like why do you really think a project like this will work? And I see it in my history and how my high school years was, and that it was during those vulnerable years that in my community I didn't have any help. I never had anyone to talk to. I never really had role models to look up to, and that today I can see where I am because of the tools that I use. And if I am this age and a student can have it in an earlier part of their lives, how more could they develop their potential? And I see it with George, like the important role that SmilingOne also played in my journey, not only mentally, but physically. I built healthy relationships. It also helped me academically. It also helped me with my family. And I think that was one of the core things that also made the project in Ravensmead so beautiful. I think when George went, you know, with my story, I didn't know, and I maybe will never know how it entered his heart, because that was really an open conversation from me that I had with him. And after that, we got the message back that we were going to be funded for 3 years for the Ravensmead project. Me and Franklin, we were actually crying. And I think today, our tears are tears of joy to see 2019 and 2020, when I gave over the baton to Franklin to engage more with the student, with his innovation, with his leadership skills, with his way or his understanding of how he can make the TRI program more colorful and more coming alive. I think seeing where it is now, I really want to say thank you for all the people that played a part in it. It was my dream that the teachers would also have sessions, and in 2020 it happened. And it's beautiful to see Mr. Figeland here. He was always my motivation. We always talked about the role he played at school. Mr. Figeland is a very strict teacher, very professional, and he's honest. And there was many times I came to him, asking for help and asking for new ideas. So Mr. Figeland, with us, I also want to say thank you for your participation in my life. And as a change agent today, I have the story that change is possible, but you can never do it without a team. And in that word team, even in prison, I've realized that it's really the meaning of together, each achieve many. And I'm really glad to be a part of a society where we can contribute positively to other people's life, but also in that learn that other people is the ones who develop us. And as a change agent today, I know that I can't live my life on an island. I can't live my life being dishonest. I can't live my life not discovering my own potential. And with that, I want to close off and still believe in that saying that Ubuntu ko bando, together we can achieve many things, and together we can do things together. Thank you, Karina.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bradley. An amazing sharing and a platform of just brilliance that come alive in so many ways. Lastly, to the change agents that have played a very important key in our strategy and supports as a coach and a facilitator of our enabling platforms. The change agent, I would like to say thank you to Lani. Thank you to Bradley. Thank you to Theo. And thank you to you, Karina, for developing these amazing change agents that really goes in and with the understanding, and also know that we can always come back to you, Karina, as being our mentor and our guide, in this process. I have seen, especially in the project, how Manuela and Karina has really given me new angles, a new platform to come back and share more about the project, find out new angles, really shaking our approach and learning to shape new developments when we are hit with a challenge to see how we can change our strategy. It has been an amazing platform to have Manuela and Karina as just stepping stones, just molders and mentors in the Ravensmead High School project. So thank you so much to you guys. And to Lani, we surely miss you, and we wish you good luck on your adventure. Thank you so much. That was the Ravensmead High School project.
Thank you so much, Franklin. Wow, I'm sure we all are just sitting so filled with, just this incredible project and the impact. And it's good to know how it came about, and also to appreciate, it's so important to appreciate every step on the journey, all the people involved, because nothing happens with just one person. It's like music. The more notes you add, the more instruments you add, and it's just this beautiful symphony. So I'm grateful for what you guys are doing with your tools. And it touches me deeply. So thank you for the beautiful presentation of our project. I am aware of time. I am not going to rush, but I am aware that just running a little bit quicker through everything. So I just want to, of course, highlight and just show you with the Academy, we have spoken about the Academy, which we are, where we're presenting our report. But just quickly want to give it a bit of airtime to honor it, and just of course, as you already know, we spend a lot of time to develop our courses. They are part of the engagement path, both for students. We are donating 10%. That will, in 2022, when more and more students globally also enroll in the academy, and the academy is really up and running, we will put from 10% up to 20% donation to the SmilingOne Foundation. The SmilingOne Foundation is really, really important to us. And also what's really important to understand, our flagship program in prisons is very close to our heart as well, because I'm sure you can see what the magic of the change agent. Now, the school project could not happen without the change agent. It's really, really important to understand the important part of the equation that the change agent is. And we want to develop an army of change agents. And those are inside prison. So we want to take our scaled approach from the academy. We want to develop intranets, because of course you can't put internet into prisons, but you can develop local intranets and provide computers and provide like learning hubs for the inmates to access our learning material. And that will be a big focus in the future as well, alongside, of course, the schools. That continues to be we will have strong emphasis on schools as well. But it's just to really, share my excitement, our excitement with you, that we, in this difficult project year, has really put our academy alive in the way we've done. And what it also helps is, and I want to add that the training of the change agent, because of course the team is in training all along. So it's not a once-off thing. I mean, we meet on a weekly basis on a Saturday morning, and we've done it through the pandemic, where we are in training, and the coaches are also attending. If you can see here, you have Bradley here and Franklin here. Now this is a training it's a webinar called 5 Steps to Breakthrough, which was for a global audience. And the change agents are there. It's part of their training, so that they really strengthen and build their muscle and strengthen their confidence in running all of these courses, because this is another exciting thing, that the change agent will be able to run these courses also for people outside the foundation, where they can get paid. And that means that adds to, remember I spoke about the sustainable livelihoods of the change agents. We want them to really be able to build their own families and the communities and have a really good income. And the academy enables that for the change agents as well, and all the change agents that are still to come and join us. So it's exciting. The approach is really, imagine this really wide highway of possibilities. And of course, we could not do any of this in our SmilingOne Foundation, because our academy and the income by the academy is still, of course, not as big. Is not as big yet, but will be. And until then, we are, of course, relying on funders. Mr. Fichterland, I believe you have a question. So sorry, I wasn't able to see that because we're so focused on presenting here, but please ask your question. Yes.
I'll just keep my hand up here.
That's fine.
Karina, I think this is a really wonderful project. I don't think it's just a project. I think it transcends beyond whatever the whole team is envisioning here right now. But I'm thinking now, I know we focus on one person at a time, but let's look at it at a bigger scale besides just the Ravensmead High School. So my question is, are you, or you, SmilingOne, are you linked to WCED? How? I know you like, what did you say? Bradley explained it now. It's a sideline project with Ravensmead High School, but are you linked with the base or district as a whole, the bigger organization? Are you or not?
Thank you for your question. So the way we do it is that we understand that we first got to provide evidence. In order for Department of Education. So we have been now, yes, so we are busy this year as part of our 5th key objective to source more funding. And also we're thinking about sustainability, both for Ravensmead, but also to take the project to other schools. So we are, yes, and we are communicating with the WCED I did a keynote talk for the WCED
Wow.
Women's Day
Okay.
last year. So we are in conversation, and we actually have another little website in the making that is already ready, that we are showcasing to, and we've already been approaching other schools. So we are in process. Yes, that is part of our strategy. Definitely.
That's awesome to hear. I had a brief chat with Franklin regarding the growth, not just on one spot or one place.
Yeah.
But I was willing to to help Frank, where we could like maybe get a petition or have an engagement growing, so that we can just get acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And then really have this founded at base, you know.
Yeah.
So because I mean, if you work with learners, I mean, you look at our context, and they go back to the homes, they go back to the streets. The rest will just latch onto that. Understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, okay, then we're on a roll.
Okay, we are,
We're getting there.
and I love that you include yourself in the team. And I just want to say, because that's how it all works. We need more and more people to come and support. We need more and more people to build this. That's why we call you teachers an army of support. That is how we actually make sure that we are contagious enough so that the rest of the country says we want this approach and we need this approach, you know, and that we can, just develop more teachers in schools with these concepts. So thank you for your commitment. Thank you.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to add on that besides just getting on the focus on our learners and getting to them, I think we should maybe target our highest structure, or let's look at the teachers first, the staff of schools, you know, and then use that as like a filtering system down to our learners, you know.
No,
so
I completely
but it's
agree
all in
with
process. I suppose it's all in process.
Yeah, but you're right. Because of our shortage of change agents, we do need to develop more change agents. We have been thinking about that as we approach other schools. We are starting with teachers, and that they become the champions and the kind of changes at the schools, and they will be the ones we educate. But that is, of course, a paid approach, you know. So we need to get WCD on board to also pay for the programs, you know. Well, not to worry, one step at a time. Because remember, like in this is our last year of funding with the Kirsch Foundation, in which we've been so grateful for those 3 years of funding. But we got to think about how do we create sustainability going forward. But as we know, it's a garden of awakening, you know, Isaac. So let's take it one step at a time. So thank you for being part of the team. And thank you for your question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I love that. And please, if anybody else has questions, do let me know. So Mr. Ficheland, if you could just mute yourself again, that would be great. Okay, lovely. So and it was so appropriate that the question, or that I was made aware of the question just now, because it's my gratitude to, of course, our stakeholders, like the teachers, our beneficiaries, sponsors, friends, and loyal supporters. We cannot do it without you. And Bradley also beautifully used the Ubuntu like a quote. And we love this sense of Ubuntu, and we understand, as Mandela, our beautiful father, shared with us in Africa, we have this concept of Ubuntu based upon the recognition that we're only people because of other people. So this is how, you know, it's again one of our guiding principles. We do deeply understand that we are going to grow this across the entire country with the support of everyone, like you, Isaac, and you, Chanel, and you, and everybody who's joining today, and all the teachers at the school, and all the students, and all the change agents. So this is, we're humbled by the trust that you show us and our vision, and that you can deeply feel it, because it's become personalized in your own lives. And we are doing our utmost every day to live up to that. And also thanking some of our long-term sponsors like RUC, so that's the Rondabos United Church, every year that they donate a little bit to the year, and that's just so beautiful. Their their commitment to the change agents and our vision. And Anya Mortensen. She is the volunteer that joined Ravensmead in 2019 and 20, and she also donated money for data, and so we could have proper connectivity through a challenging year. So she stepped in there to support it. So, and of course, again, cannot say enough thank you to the Kirsch Family Foundation for just supporting us in the way they've done. And I mean, I am so grateful to also say that we have been able to stay afloat in one of the toughest years globally. I mean, sure. And that our team could, still be sent to work at school. And my heart is deeply touched by that. So the next part of my presentation is where we go into our, financials. So the first part is kind of the presentation of the annual report that we're going to also adopt. I'm going to adopt it after I've gone through the financial and ask everybody to help me adopt the annual report. But let me just go into the financials as well first, so we can adopt both the annual report and our financial annual accounts at the same time. So I just want to take you into our financials, and of course the audited financial statements are available upon request. As I said, one of our values is transparency, and openness is really important to us. So everything is available, and of course our funders have already received those and our audits. So we raised 404,479,000 Rand and 67 cents. And you can see here the breakdown. What I also want to highlight, and what really excites me, is that the change agents are actually also donating funds. So when they earn as resources, they also donate a portion to the foundation. It's part of their caring and like a license, because they don't pay for their education, but we understand how important it is that you don't just give things, that there must be an exchange. That's where the entrepreneurial energy and approach comes in, that they know that they are part of building the foundation. And because of that, we were able to start our academy and pay the license fee for that online platform that we are renting to host our academy, which costs, a license fee every year. And that was taken out of the buffer account that the donations that's made over the years by the change agent. So that is hugely exciting for me. And also, I'm sure the change agents are excited because they know, because of them and the incredible work they've done over the years, they have made this possible as well. And again, it comes back to that we can only do it together, And so if you see the wheel here, so we're just also dividing in how much do we actually use. So you'll be able to see that our activation at the school, 79% of those funds went directly into the school project. And that has been the large focus this year, also because our prisons the prison projects were paused due to the pandemic. And of course, we have operational costs. The academy, we spent 7% to start the academy, invest in the academy, which then has enabled all these programs and a more scaled approach, which benefits our beneficiaries and builds a fundraising engine. And then we, of course, have further change agent activations here. So we went into the year already with money in the bank account, and then we added that to the raised funds, which then ended up, this is our expenditure for the last financial year that we have right here. And we are the Smiling Foundation. We are registered as a trust and a non-profit organization. We are a trust and we're registered as a non-profit organizations. And it is our objective, so very clear focus, and I'm sure you've seen that throughout the presentation, is to carry out our Circles of Change initiative for the benefit of South African high-risk communities. And we've had the impact started since 2008 with the first prison projects. I also want to take you through the financial report. I just want to read it for you because it's really, it's something I sit with each year, and I'm thinking into what are some of those big highlights, also from a financial perspective? And that is of course important. We can't run this without finances. And I'm deeply humbled as I've been sitting with the report and preparing the report that we've been able to stay afloat in one of the toughest years for us as a collective, as a global village. And of course, my heart, our heart goes out to all our sisters and brothers globally who have endured really tough times and who have lost their ones and who are still struggling. I mean, we're not out of the pandemic yet, and we've all been affected in one way or another. This shared challenge, we do feel, has brought us all much closer. And it has reminded us that we can only truly succeed if we do it together. And togetherness is a big theme for us this year. Because we are. And we give thanks for the incredible support of the Kirsch Family Foundation, the commitment, their care, unwavering support and trust in our approach has made it possible to continue to deploy our team of change agents to projects in high-risk communities. And even if we have had to pause our prison processes due to lockdown, we've been able to take our Ravensmead High School project, the Champion of Change, and Zero Dropout campaign to new heights. And I'm sure you've seen that. So the presentation's absolutely mind-blowing what has been happening the last year. Our team has walked 1,000 extra miles in this challenging season to maximize this investment that has been made. And this has seen teachers become more involved, more matriculants to seek our support, and many becoming champions to their peers, and a much deeper integration of our approach across the entire project. And we take our partnerships very seriously with our team, our sponsors, our project partners on site. We are in it to win. And we've hand in hand with our parties involved turned our second year project into a huge success. And one of the big ROIs, returns on investment, has been that the students have won more committed teachers, partners in education, committed to being nurturing adults. And if we look at the sustainability, and I spoke about it just now, with the investment, big investments that we did in the online platform, and I spoke about the change agent building the buffer account through monthly donations, which allowed us to invest in this yearly license fee. And also I personally have invested several days a week to build the academy. So we haven't asked others to do it for us. Fortunately, it's something that I can do. So I've been building the online platform, and which really has shaped the online awakened leadership path. And the investment really has, as I spoke about a little bit earlier, the potential to become a long-term funding strategy for SmilingOne Foundation, that we can really both run for our team, our beneficiaries, and for a global audience. And the 10% right now goes towards the foundation. That will next year be raised to 20%. Our change agents are being trained in the academy as well. The change agent can earn income via the academy. And their growth, of course, the change agent growth, contributes exponentially to the growth of the academy, which again keeps the fundraising engine spinning to really generate a constant flow of funds to ensure that we can educate more change agents, bring more champions of change, out from the school projects, and create more careers that they can really invest in becoming contributing citizens in our countries. And so, of course, the teachers as well, the partners in education, that we can bring it to many more schools. Hence, also to get back to your question, Isaac, that is definitely part of what we're here to do. So we give thanks to all of you, our friends and loyal supporters who joined us this year and who continue to support us in taking these big, bold steps, and together is definitely better. So I'm asking now all of us, and if we just can, if you're able to, just show hands as well, because we want to adopt both the annual report and our financial reports. Would you please help me adopt first the annual report? Are you happy with the presentation of the annual report? Everybody happy? I see lots of hands. That's great. Also, our financial report. Are you happy that we're adopting our financial report? Everybody happy, especially the board. And what I want to say as well, that us as a board, we have gone through all the financials in deep detail, and we have signed off the audited financial statements. So also from our side, we are adopting and happy with that. So thank you to everyone as well. And also, as we are still here with the financials, HE Page are our auditors. They are financial accountants, and they give us financial advice, and they help us, of course. And every 6 months, we collect everything, because we actually send our financial statements to our sponsors on a half-year basis. So I'm asking my board to help me, that we can please re-elect our auditors to help us this next financial year. So are we happy with that we are electing our, very nice, I see the hands, beautiful. And also the next, and I love the hands coming up. Thank you, Natalie and Paul. That's the perks of this Zoom and the online. Thank you for those hands as well. So I'm just going to take us to the board and our governance just before we're going to re-elect our board of trustees. And I'm also going to, now you've heard the voices of Franklin and me. I also want to add the voice of Manuela, and I know she has been also preparing a memo that she wants to share with us. And just before I hand over to you, Manuela, so this is really, I mean, one of our biggest value is, again, you know, that the quality and transparency and the governance of our foundation. We deal with the funds of our sponsors, and we take it hugely seriously. So we are accountable, the board, for our standard of governance, and we're highly committed to ensure that we deliver what we promise. And it begins with how we live our Smiling One dream. We walk the talk, and we fuel our values into building a strong and sustainable organization. In terms of our financial management policy, our Smiling One financial statements of the foundation are done in terms of the South African auditing standards, and audited financial statements are available. And as we just elected our external auditor, HE Page, who provides oversight and monitoring for us. Quality management is really important for us as well. So I am also, and you can ask my team, I'm a very strict quality manager. And that's part of our management policy and system. So project monitoring and evaluation takes part of our total quality management policy. I'm normally in project on a bi-weekly basis to check. Right now, I had a little hip operation, so I'm doing it remote, but also because Franklin is, you know, an excellent pilot on the project, so we help each other at the moment to do that. So our Change Agent Committee, Franklin is the chairperson of the Change Agent Committee, so he oversees all COC projects of change agents within the projects. So all the change agents will report to him, and then Franklin reports to me. So over to you, Manuela.
Thank you, Karina. I think what I'll do is I'll just proceed the memo, because I'm aware of time. Is that all? Is that all right?
Yeah.
So, gosh, what a fulfilling AGM, right? So very moving to hear all the stories. I think you know, when you're preparing for an AGM, I had forgotten. You know, we were preparing to deliver something, and I had forgotten that something was going to come back. And it's that sense of just how deeply touching this work is. And, you know, it was me attending your AGM in 2019 and listening to Luanda. And Luanda, you did it again this time. That just completely moved me to the core about just the depth and reach of this work. And I think, you know, I think I mentioned I've been part of the personal development field for very many years. I'm not unfamiliar with being in kind of deeply sharing spaces. But there's something about this particular model that kind of, for me, takes it a step further. it's about the change agents. You know, it's about the fact that when you listen to Luanda or Franklin or Bradley, you know, when these people, you know, when you sit in their presence and you feel the access of the level of desperation that they've been at, you know, these are obviously people who have come from places where they've been let down by their world. They've been let down by whoever it was, their mothers, their fathers, their communities, maybe even their religion. You know, they've been let down, and finally, you know, eventually after a long time, they land up letting down themselves. I mean, who wouldn't, right? And it's that peace for me that just moves me so profoundly when you can see that somehow someone was able to reach them and go, you know, grab this hand and I'll pull you out. And that they can then step into an environment of young people who are experiencing very similar feelings, and they can look into that young person's face and go, I see you, I hear you, I can feel where you're at, and I can lead the way or a way, and say that this doesn't have to be, you know, you have a different choice, you can make a different decision. The hope in that message is so enormous. It is so enormous. It's profound, you know, because it takes self-development out of self. It takes development into a broader community, into a wider world, and it makes it more meaningful. You know, it makes it more purposeful. And I think that's the piece for me that made me want to join the SmilingOne Foundation and commit. You know, my time is so small in comparison to the amount of energy and time driven by the change agents and you, Karina. So I think as a South African, you know, you follow the footsteps of Nelson Mandela, the man who was banished to the prisons and then returned to his community and led the nation. I mean, if that isn't the most beautiful metaphor and something to be deeply, deeply proud of, I mean, you have to be deeply proud of yourselves. It's, I'm so grateful to bear witness to your path. So thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Wow. What a beautiful way to also, well, conclude, you know, and kind of sum up how this work touches us profoundly. And thank you, Manuela. I really want to thank you for joining us and for all that you've added through this year, because we've had bi-weekly board meetings. I mean, consistent. It's just like been really important also to, as a board, to speak about how do we navigate this hugely challenging year. And you've been such an important pillar, both also from the background that you have and just which of you just add an ingredient that is profound. And I think also for Franklin, it's been really great to, and he just mentioned it before as well, to have you as an additional strong pillar, female pillar as well, which has been very inspiring. So thank you for the light you bring and all your experience into the project. Yeah. So I would like to ask everyone to help me. I would like to, because I can't nominate myself, so I'll let Manuela and Franklin do that, but I can definitely nominate Franklin and Manuela to be re-elected to our board of trustees. So would everybody help me elect these beautiful people to take another yes? Thank you so much. And I'm just seeing lots of hands, beautiful, wonderful. Yes. So yes, Franklin, would you take care of the last part of the election?
I would like to nominate Karina. And everybody else who would like to join me, put a hand up.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank
awesome.
you, Karina.
Thank you so much. We have re-elected our board of trustees so we can keep sailing the ship into the next year of our SmilingOne Foundation and amazing projects. And I would like to, as closing remarks, I think it would be really nice to just hear from each one who joined us today how this impacted them, how this beautiful presentation, and meeting each one in our project has impacted them. So I'm just going to start up here on my right. So Anne, would you like to start by sharing how today's AGM has impacted you? If you just unmute yourself.
So, hello, everybody.
Okay. Would you like to go first, Paul?
I thought I'm on your right, sorry, but I can't see.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
Who's
I'm
on
just...
your right?
Anne.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so Anne, just go first.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have many words. I'm really, really amazed by all the things I heard and how deep the iceberg is below the surface. I can just tell you, I'm so happy to hear that there is such a social program in place for South Africa, because you're going to take it to the next level. And that's what the country needs. And I'm really, really proud of you. Well done, everybody. Well done. Well done. It's really, really life-changing for me to have been hearing this and witnessing this. And I just know when before the question was asked how the WCD is that W. I just thought of the school where I am working now as an aftercare person. It's a huge school, but a huge privileged school. And how many children and how many children struggle, and how many teachers are struggling because of bullying. And this is actually the last week's concern in the school from the principal and the staff. And they try to put a system in place to stop bullying and to report bullying, but there's so much intimidation as well that I just thought, wow, you know, if even the privileged school can benefit of this program, what can other school? And what a answer to too many questions, too many problems. I don't know what to add anymore. I'm really deeply touched.
Thank you so much, Anna, for being here.
Well done. And just keep that vision going. Keep it going.
Thank you very much.
You are the right people to do that. Well done, all the change agents. Your stories are beautiful, amazing, bringing hope. And just keep it. Just say it as far and wide. Just share it. Share it to everybody. We need you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank
well
you.
Done. Thank you.
Thanks. Paul, over to you. I can't hear you, Paul. You must just unmute yourself.
Thank you. Each year, thank you. That I'm privileged to listen to the feedback and the summary of the year. It just touches me deeply. I think a lot of what you said, Manzi, summed up such a wonderful intelligence about the construct of how these amazing change agents are able to come back into their communities, to be related to and spoken to in the same language, and give such incredible hope to these children who are, many of them find themselves in wastelands of no support whatsoever. So, and then teachers like yourself, Isaac, it's lovely to meet you. I feel your energy and your enthusiasm. What a blessing. And how blessed the kids are to have, a man of your solidity in their mentorship and their teaching environment. And I feel your excitement about the work of the change agents. That's wonderful. And I secretly look forward to you getting more involved in the work and carrying it forward in whatever way that looks like. And I agree with you. And I think the work has got such enormous potential in South Africa and worldwide. Every country struggles with underprivileged communities and communities that have been turned away from for a whole number of reasons, whether it be by government or whatever reason. There are children who will make the world a better place by this kind of work, and also by teachers like yourself who are awake and aware to what's needed. Just needing people to listen to your on the ground, boots on the ground experience. So I hope more of that will emerge. And then, yeah, blessings to you, my love, for your amazing leadership. I see you day in and day out, on the computer, on calls, committed, with the intensity and fierceness that you bring. I want to honor that. It's infectious and phenomenal. So grateful to you and grateful to the project of making this world, of us leaving this world behind a better place than we found it. So thank you all. Blessings.
Thank you so much, Paul. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Luyanda, Theo, dear one, how has it been for you today? And I also want, because you were also actually a really important part of Ravensmead in the first months where we went into lockdown. We were like, oh, we need more help. We need to have more change agents on board to be active in the project. And here you were, supporting. So how has the AGM been for you, and to witness the entire year and presentation, Theo?
Guys, I salute you guys. I really take my hat high. Each and every one of you guys. It's like you are part of my organs, of my body. It's you are amazing, guys. You are amazing. About the name of the teacher also in Ravensmead, what is his name?
Isaac.
What is his name?
Isaac.
Isaac. Yeah, Mr. Isaac. It's an honor. It's an honor for me, and I'm grateful you're present to be among us, because most of our parents are struggling. They don't know how to handle their children. They send them to school. And you guys, you are the second parents of these children. So by you to engage in this program, it gives me joy, it gives me courage. And it's not easy as we watch the TV, the bullies, etc., etc. And I just hope that the Department of Education may acknowledge the work that you are doing, guys. I'm proud and I'm glad and I'm happy for your assistance to us. Oh, gentlemen, I may run out of ways to appreciate your presence in my life. It always, for me, it's like, as I used to say, I'm in a petrol gauge, to fill up the fuel in order to continue with this journey. I love you guys. I love you, and it's an honor and privilege, you know, to be amongst you guys. I think other things I will say in other time, kind of like due to time. And
thank you.
But thank you guys. I love you guys. I love you. I love you, Manila, Karina, Franklin, even those that I didn't mention. May you know, up until I don't know. Yeah. Thanks God for your existence in my life.
Thanks,
I appreciate
dear.
guys.
I feel you, dear. I feel you. We feel you deeply. Thank you. And also thank you for always showing up, you know, because you are also on your entrepreneur journey, which is hugely exciting, because remember, the change agents are also entrepreneurs, but you're always here, you know. So thank you. You also have beautiful fuel in the gas station, you know, so it's an abundant exchange, Theo. So bless you, and we love you too.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. So Isaac, would you like to share with us how today has been for you? And thank you for making time to be with us. And I know we went over, but you decided to stay with us. So thank you so much. And just unmute yourself.
I'm marking here in between. Just grading papers. It's that time of the year. I always say my name changes from Isaac to Mark when I hit the exam season. But the aim for today, if I may share my reflection, is not just on today. I ever want to give credit to the very first person that instigated this, Karina. I'm just going to say, don't quit. Just keep going, because not quitting was a reaction or an action on someone else, and that is a reaction from the next person, which will then just continue a chain. So it's very mind-opening. One word: growth. I just think of growth, new heights. Anne phrased something like problems. Frank knows how I feel about problems. We kind of change our terminology when it gets to problems, and we phrase it and we place it as challenges. So going from challenges, there's so many characters when it gets to any challenge, right? But we choose as people, and yeah, I don't think you would be there without with a little bit of help. I mean, who are we without a little bit of help? So, like many of you have mentioned, it is a team effort. But yeah, just don't quit. Don't quit. I also loved what Paul mentioned about listening. If we don't really listen to each other, no one's going to listen to us. So yeah, this AGM is telling me, and what I'm learning from this, I'm going to conclude now, because I can speak a lot, is that I will just keep on listening. Just don't quit. Just keep growing. That is it. And we'll see the result. We'll see it. We'll feel it. I mean, if I just reflect quickly on Waydeen, you see, I was going to conclude, but now I'm almost concluding. If I go back to Waydeen and I, we bumped so many times. We bumped our heads, we fought, we argued, and it was basically one point. We didn't really listen to each other. So that's where Franklin was probably intervened. Franklin was my ears. Franklin was the other educator's ears, and that was one child's life, you know, where it could have been a loss, but let's say she was saved, you know. So that's an example of let us just listen and keep growing together. Thank you so much. Bless you all.
Oh, bless you, Isaac. Thank you. Really, really, I'm deeply touched, you know. Thank you for being part of making this happen. Natalie, let's hear from you. How has this AGM been? And of course, Natalie's busy making notes because she's going to also do the minutes. So how did it impact you? And if you just want to show us your video, if you can. It's always nice to see everybody, and you too, Franklin.
Hello. So I'm always amazed every single year by the AGM. I've been around for probably all of them. So I've seen the foundation from the start to where it is now, and I'm constantly amazed by the growth. And I mean, I remember Franklin's also first projects with the CMD project, like how things, like before you guys even went into schools, you were doing other things. I can't exactly remember right now off the top of my head, but it's just amazing to see this progress and how the SmilingOne Foundation actually, you almost found your vision later on with the whole school projects. So at the start, it was never about the kids, but then you turn it into this relationship between the change agents coming from the same story and then helping these kids. And I think it's such a beautiful, it's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful metaphor as well, to have these change agents guiding these kids. And yeah, I mean, my takeout today is I'm excited to see where this project goes, where in the next few years you will be from this moment on. And yeah, I'm also deeply honored to be able to work with you guys in the background. And yeah, I'm always supporting you, and I have deep respect for the work you do. And it's really important. I mean, I'm sure we also, if we didn't know it before, I'm sure after lockdown we do, because with the increase in crime, we can just see that it is such important work. And I hope that more people will come and sponsor so that you can put out your feelers further. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie. That's very, very special. Thank you. Franklin or Bradley, who would like to go first? Bradley?
Yes, I just also want to say I'm thankful. I think what I'm taking from...
Can we see her?
Yes, I'm sorry, her mommy came to drop her at 1 now.
So this is the newest edition of the SmilingOne family. She's 9 months old. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to say I'm very grateful for how far we have came till now. And I think what Mr. Figeland and Paul also mentioned is that that listening is very important. And I think I'm a gift, but I was also found by a gift, and that's what I will always be thankful for, you know, because I wouldn't have had the ability to be a father today, to be a son to my parents, and to be a family member and a law-abiding citizen. So for the years ahead, and what I'm taking today is to push beyond boundaries, because for me, I think if there was a valuable role played in my life, and if I could also give that back in a way, not just to inspire others, but to inspire me, it will be one of the greatest gifts. And it was always my vision, you know, to leave a legacy behind. And I'm Aquarius, I'm a visionary, and SmilingOne actually resembles what I really am inside. So I'm thankful that I could be at the AGM today. And I will keep on learning. I thought when I first came out in 2018, yeah, you learn quickly, you know, when you're a teacher. I don't need to know. But you know what I want now in life is to be as curious as a child, you know, always learning, because that's the only thing that can take you further in life. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Bradley. Thank you so much. Very special. Over to you, Franklin.
Where do I start? I think the first thing to start with is appreciation. You know, I'm so blessed and so much in awe to be a part of family and friends, you know, that really supports and guides me as a person. From a change agent's perspective, I can really say thank you to the team that really have worked together and really gel, and as we bounce off one another. I think that when it comes to the project, especially, I can really say thank you to teachers and for the other change agents for really under for really understanding and being there, for really understanding and being there in the project for the students, understanding the parents, really connecting, just for human connection, man. I can really show gratitude towards, because why not just as Smiling One, I found a family, and to our sponsors, to our supporters, I've not just found friends, I've also found motivation to teachers, being partners. I really found new friendships and new partnerships and a new team, and to everyone else, even the likes on Facebook, the logins in the academy or on the website, even to them, thank you so much for being part of my human experience. So today I would just like to say thank you to everyone who has joined and have seen the work we have done, and who knows a bit more. So I hope they're going away with a bit of a new knowledge and sending out the praise and the energy for us to take this further into the world. So thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Frank, and thank you, Bradley. Thank you for each one of you who joined today. Thank you to my beautiful team who's made this possible, and for the newest edition. I'm really excited about that. And let's have a fantastic year. We're so ready, and we're already busy with, by the way. We are, so let's take off. So thank you so much for joining us today, and this concludes our AGM. Lots of love to all of you.